Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to Blade Bias, here with a very special Blade Show recap video. Blade Show 2026 has come and gone, and it was an excellent event as always, and we're going to break it down in this video just for you specifically watching, Trevor. I don't know, maybe I'll get that one right. Joining me today is the ever wonderful Scott. Scott, could you please give a little intro to yourself in case the people somehow aren't familiar with you?
Yes, absolutely. I'm Scott. A lot of people know me as Bali Unc. I have been flipping for about 11 months now. I do content on YouTube, some videos, some shorts on Instagram. Mostly I do live streams because I'm lazy and hate editing.
Fair enough. Scott, you've actually taken up a bit of a niche in the hobby, especially lately, because it seems like there's no one else really streaming like you. Because haven't streamed in a while. There's a bunch of other people who I haven't seen streams from in a while. So it's been nice that you've been kind of keeping the live streaming Balisong, excuse me, Balisong side of things alive. But also, because you only started 11 months ago, you said this was your first Blade show. So I thought it would be a very interesting thing for the audience at home to hear your perspective, both as a newer content creator in the community and as someone who is going to Blade Show for the first time. So I thought, what better person to recap Blade Show with than someone who experienced it for the first time? For any of you out there who might be interested in going to Blade Show yourself next year, or maybe even later this year if you decide to go to West. But yeah, Scott, unless you have anything to add, let's just dive straight into the recap here.
Let's do it.
You got there. I got there a little bit late. I got there at like 11 p.m. on Thursday night, but you had like a whole day beforehand.
Yeah.
So if there's anything that you want to go through before that, and I know also the pit usually starts Thursday night, which the pit is kind of like the after party of Blade Show for anyone who isn't familiar. Although in this case, I guess it's the before party or the primer party or whatever you want to call that.
Yeah. So yeah, I flew into Atlanta at I think I got in at around 9:30 in the morning. Got picked up from the airport and got to start my Blade Show experience very slowly with a smaller group of people, which was really helpful for me because going into Blade Show, I was very open about the fact that I am socially awkward and I am socially anxious. So one of the things that I went into Blade Show knowing was that I was going to be terrified with the number of people that I was going to be experiencing. So with Thursday, I got to kind of dip my toe into that. And I got to hang out with people like Jack Pyro, Shroom, Brian, Odo, Vaughn, Micah, Nick, and Jeremy.
You said it was a small group, but that's a big group. Holy cow!
It was, yeah, and the pizza place loved us.
Oh, I bet.
But so that allowed me to kind of get acquainted with some people, get familiar with some faces, meet some people I've been talking to for quite a long time, but also meet some people that I hadn't had the opportunity to meet yet. And that was really, really helpful for me because that way, when I made it to the pit, when I got to Blade Show, I wasn't, a single person in this crowd of strangers. I could look around and I could identify faces that I've seen, people that I have talked to, people I was familiar with at that point. So, yeah, that first Thursday experience of getting to meet those people and flip valleys, but really getting to meet those people and have that initial introduction to the community was really, really important for me and really set the stage for the entire show.
Yeah, it's something that I wish that I had recommended to people beforehand, but I'm sorry, you went to the pit on Thursday night, correct?
I did. Yep,
Yeah.
I did.
So it's a much smaller vibe. Blade Show is like a very crowded, there's people everywhere, and you're always running around either doing something or talking to someone or looking at something. So it's actually a little bit of like it's a pro move, if you will, to go if you can. I know it's difficult to get there a day early, but if you go to the pit the day before, or if you hang out with some people the day beforehand, you won't be thrust into the craziness of Blade Show, not knowing anyone, like Scott just said. So I think it's something that I need to keep in mind to recommend to people beforehand, because I think it is something that like elevates your experience otherwise, kind of dialing back some of that first day jitters just a tiny bit, because you've got some people that you've already gotten that first meeting awkwardness out of the way beforehand, and then when the show
Yep.
starts, it is, yeah, it's crazy. But we'll get to that.
Yep.
I'm
Right.
glad you had a day. I was actually initially supposed to be a part of your group, but I had miscommunicated the time of my flight. So I was under the impression that everyone was getting there at 9:30 p.m., which is around when I was supposed to get there. Thank you,
Gotcha.
airline. But that was not the case. So I'm glad you guys
No.
had a good day. It's always nice to get that early experience in to kind of get the jitters out before Blade Show. I showed up and immediately got a ride to the place I was staying, which was actually with Will. I was with Will the whole weekend at his place, which was
Cool.
very, very cool. Um,
Right.
so yeah, I think that, pre Blade Show, we're all good. Friday
Mm-hmm.
rolls around and
Yep.
it's the first day of the show. Did you get there
Mm-hmm.
like right when doors open? Did you wait a little bit? Because the initial line is always something that I try to avoid because I hate it.
Yeah, I was an early bird special, so
Oh, okay.
I had early access. There were a couple of us that did, so they swang over to my hotel, picked me up. We got out there, kind of went to the wrong doors at first. A lot of people were at the wrong doors, and people inside were just watching us kind of congregate around the wrong doors until somebody finally came out and said, okay, if you guys are here for the early bird, this is where you need to go. So then we just booked it around the entire building to the correct door and got in line.
Where were you
And
initially?
Initially, we were at at the beginning or at the front of the conference center. So if you come out of the baller room and you went down those stairs, those doors
Yeah,
were
like
where
the
we were sitting.
big, there's like the escalator
Yep.
and the big stairs. They told
Yeah.
you to go away from there?
Yeah, that's not where the line was waiting. So
Oh, interesting.
the other end of the hall, like if you go from the baller room down to where the main showroom floor was, and then keep going, and you have those doors to kind of walk across the way to the
Basically to
pit.
get to the pit, yeah.
Yeah, that's where everybody was actually supposed to be lined up.
Oh,
So
wow.
then we got so then we got to the right line, and we're kind of just flipping. We met a couple flippers that joined us in line, and just kind of hung out there until they kind of went through the line and identified those of us, the Valley folk. We weren't going to the main showroom. We were going to the baller room, which was where the majority of the Balisong booths were set up.
Right.
So they directed us to go inside and swing around, and there was another line right outside the baller room, and that's where we posted up until they officially opened the doors.
It's interesting because I would have been tripped up by that too. Because last year you were in the correct place to begin because they had
Yeah.
two separate lines. One was like the general line, general admission, and it like stretched all the way back to like a parking garage. So we had to walk all the way down. It was probably a mile long line, I want to say. Thankfully, it went
Wow.
fairly quickly. But then there
Yeah.
was like another one directly left of it that was just the early bird
Okay.
people. So I'm surprised they kicked you basically all the way around. Because
Yep.
also, if you went to Blade Show this year, the whole like mall area, which I don't know how much we've talked about it in previous videos or if you've seen it in like anyone's vlogs. The mall area, it had like a Subway. There were like a few shops down there that I don't even think were even running at this point, but they knocked all of that down. So there was like no more side entrance to go into the mall area that you could then use to loop up around to the like main room, kind of where
Hmm.
you went before the baller room, which it's so
Yeah.
funny that that's what it's called. Um, so that mall being destroyed, I didn't expect them to make you walk Because with that entrance gone, you have to go.
We
You
had to
can't
walk
you
around the
can't go
block
this
to get
way, so
there.
you had to walk like on the sidewalk, basically all the way
Yep.
around where the road followed. Oh gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. It was, I was breathing heavy by the time we got to where we were supposed to be.
Yeah, I
Because we
bet.
weren't going slow either, because we knew we were in the wrong spot. Somebody had to be in the right spot. We were losing precious line space while we were trying to traverse our way back over there. So
Right.
we hit the ground running, almost literally. And yeah, I was pretty winded by the time we got over there.
Yeah, there's usually a mad dash when it starts. I don't even think I was awake at this point. So sticking to your view,
Yeah,
you go in. I'm assuming there's a mad dash for the Balisong section. There usually is. If we were restrained this year, then I have to give everyone a hand clap there. So because I know that you kind of
yeah,
spoiling something that we'll probably get into. I mean, we can get into it now if you want, but
yeah, of
you
course.
actually did manage to beat the line and actually get something. So what was that
Yes.
experience like?
Yeah.
I mean, your first experience at Blade Show was part of the mad dash to get to the Balisong section. Did you even know where you were
Yeah.
going, by the way?
I had absolutely no idea where I was going. I kept telling myself, I have to look at the map. I have to figure out where this booth in particular is so that I can map it out in my brain and I know where to go. And I just kept kicking that can down the road again and again and again until we were in the line, just waiting. So we probably had, once we got inside the convention center and lined up outside the baller room's closed doors waiting for them to open, we had about 45 minutes, I want to say. So
Okay.
during that time, again, thankfully, I'm with a group of people that I'm familiar with, and then there are more people that these others know that everybody is interacting with. So while we're talking, we identify that Micah and I are both heading in the same direction to the same booth. So Micah tells me, hey, we're going to stick to a buddy system. You stick with me, I stick with you. We'll get where we're going. So at that point, I know I don't need to have a mental map figured out of where I'm going. I just need to not lose Micah.
That's
So if
good.
Micah's running, I'm going to be running. If Micah's walking quickly, I'll be walking quickly. Honestly, I don't remember if we ran or if we walked quickly. All I know is that I was following Micah the entire way until we got to the booth, and there weren't a whole lot of people in front of us. Thankfully, we didn't have to start all the way on the other side where we were originally lined up. Because then again, I would have been winded by the time we got to the booth, because it was quite a walk down that long hallway around the corner to the baller room, and
Right.
then trying to find the booth there. So so yeah, I followed Micah to the booth, and we were able to get there before I think any other Balisong people had made it. So yeah, it was pretty cool
Very
and
nice.
easy going. I was very stressed about it because I hadn't done my due diligence, but because things just worked out that I was able to follow Micah along the way, it was pretty easy going.
No, that's great. I'm not sure if you've seen videos of how early bird usually goes, but there will be people literally like sprinting despite
Oh,
staff's
okay.
best efforts to try and get us not to do that. I've
Okay.
actually
Yeah, I
never
don't think I
done.
don't think we had to.
That's good. That's very good. Good job, Allison community. We showed restraint this time. I've actually never done early bird. I full
Okay.
respect to anyone who does do it or pay for it. I just never find it worth the money. There's never been a knife where I've been like, I need to get this right now immediately, and I'm gonna run and line up 2 hours in advance and all this stuff. And I actually showed up to the show like half an hour to an hour late this year, which honestly
Yeah.
was kind of nice, not having to deal with all the lines and then just going in and seeing everyone. Um, but you,
Admittedly, the only day that I didn't decide to sleep in was the first day where it really mattered.
hey,
Every
and
other day, I did the same thing you did. I
on
was like, I
your
don't need to be there as soon as the doors open anymore.
that's actually impressive to me on your first Blade Show because this is the first year that I've been like actually okay with it. Previous years, I would usually be the first one up of the people that I was staying with, and I'd kind of just be
Hmm.
anxiously sitting there, ready to go, waiting for everyone else to get ready, and be like, oh, I wanna go. So I've, in my 5 years that I've now gone to Blade Show 2020, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Oh my gosh, I've been to 5 Blade shows. I've kind of mellowed out a little bit,
Gotcha.
thankfully.
No, after day one, I had to mellow out. There was no option
Yeah,
for me.
that's fair. You said, you said you were the first Balisong person there, so you have the
Yeah.
run of the place basically. You can choose whichever booth to go to, and as long as you have the
Well,
money, you can get whatever you want.
I wasn't the first Balisong person to the Balisong section.
Oh,
I
okay, I
was
see.
the first Balisong person to the particular booth that Micah and I were shooting for.
So
So
you had a
Micah and I made
line.
it there before anybody else.
You had a line, and you were
And
just going for it. Yeah.
yeah, so I kind of had the experience you were thinking, but instead of I have the run of the entire Balisong space, I had my selection of everything that was at the booth, which was exactly what
Which
I
is
was looking
still
for.
awesome. I mean,
Yes, it was very awesome.
I don't know what I would do in that situation, showing up to a booth knowing you. I mean, you obviously knew what you wanted in advance.
Yep.
And I think we can reveal that in a second here if you want to talk about it. Um,
Yeah, sure.
but I kind of want to know, you did you have it in mind? Did you know what you were looking for, or did you get to the table and you're just like, oh my gosh, I got to pick one of these in like 30 seconds so that I can keep the line
Nope.
moving? Or
No, it was very very easy for me. So,
oh, okay,
full disclosure, the booth that I was shooting for was the LDY booth. I think, needless to say, with that being my primary focus, the balisong that I was shooting for was the answer, which they had all lined up on the table. And because before Blade Show actually kicked off, Will had posted a photo of all of the balisongs that were going to be at Blade Show. So I had already scrutinized all of the options and had one or two that I was really, really gunning for. And my wife even had told me which one she thought was the best looking one, and which one I should go for. So as soon as we got to the booth, nobody else ahead of Micah or I immediately scanned all of the answers that were there, and right in the middle was the exact one that I was looking for. And without pausing, without hesitation, I pointed at it, and I mean the first words out of my mouth were, "I want that." And immediately, they let me know, okay, these are our payment options. And I was like, okay, let me scan your QR code and let's get this process started. I mean, before I hadn't touched it, I hadn't picked it up, I hadn't
you
tried to
didn't
flip
flip
it,
it or
like
beta test
nothing.
or
Because Thursday night at the pit, I had the opportunity to flip
oh, okay, yep.
the answer prototype. So I knew at least the prototype was right up my alley, and the odds that they were going to drastically change it to an unflippable state for me was pretty low. So I saw the one that I wanted. I immediately pointed at it and said, I need to purchase this now, and I'm fairly confident because of that, and again, us being the first two people at the booth. Mine was the first answer purchase at LDY's booth at Blade Show 2026 this year.
Possibly ever, because that was the first place that they launched. I don't think they did a drop online before that.
No, I think their
You,
their online drop was later on in the day, if
yeah,
I understand correctly. So
you
the
might have been the
only
first
way,
answer ever. You're
I
the
think,
youngest
but
answer
the
ever.
I think the only exception might be if before they opened the doors for early bird, if they allowed other vendors to kind of peruse other people's stuff, and any purchases were made that way. But if that was the case, that was behind closed doors, and I am not aware of it.
I don't even know if they allow that. I think I've heard previously that they don't let you do that. I could
Okay.
be just completely making this up, but I feel like I've heard stories of like setups for Balisong booths and they were like fairly strict. Maybe not. Maybe you can walk around. I don't know. But what I do know is that vendors, there's no knife vendors, normal knife vendors coming over to the Balisong section. So there's probably a pretty good chance
Right.
yours was actually the first.
That's what I keep telling myself. I'm happy with it.
And did you choose the answer like before you even landed in Atlanta, or was it like an on
Oh
the
yeah.
fly thing, or
No, no. And anybody who tunes into my streams knows full well that as soon as the answer was announced, I was on that train. I mean, I remember when Will had dropped his 30 or 45-minute long video talking about the answer and the process that he had gone through with LDY to design it, the prototyping, the help that he was getting from Jack Pyro with regards to feedback on its flipping and all of that stuff. The worry stone on it, the whole kit and caboodle. Based off all of that, I was very hyped over the answer, and I knew going into Blade Show, if there was one thing that I could come out of Blade Show with in my hand, I wanted it to be the answer. And if I could get the answer, from there, the rest of it was just icing on the cake.
yeah? I was very impressed with the answer. Jack had specifically been hyping it up to me like weeks beforehand.
Yeah.
Not even like much detail, just like I'm gonna get like at Blade Show, you have to try this thing. It's like the greatest thing ever, and I love it so much. And I'm like, holy cow, you really like this. And I actually wasn't even expecting to like it that much because Will's
Hmm.
preference is more in the past leaned far more handle bias than I've ever really been super interested in.
Hmm.
The Vault Pro probably being the closest he's gotten to my handle preference in terms of some of the things that he's made and like what he's quoted as his favorite ballad songs ever. I don't know if you got to try any of those. I don't even know if he brought things like the Invictus and his Alien and things like that. But side tangent aside, I was actually very, very pleasantly surprised because I also flipped the answer Thursday night. It was very late. It was one of the first things that had handed to me, and it's very
Hmm.
impressive. I'm actually probably going to be hopefully getting one for myself in the not too distant future. We'll see. Um,
Nice.
so
Yeah, of everyone, not to interrupt, but yeah, of
no, you're good.
everyone that I had talked to, there were a number of people, honestly, that flipped this before I did because, like I said, I didn't flip it before I purchased it. I purchased it. It immediately went into my pocket, and yeah, then we'll get into like the where I went from there and all that. But I mean, other people like I was showing this to, then flipped it, and they flipped it before I did. I didn't really want to flip it until I had the opportunity to dull the edge a little bit because I don't like getting cut. Um, so yeah, but everybody that I talked to, everybody that flipped mine, and throughout the entire show, everybody that I talked to that had an answer, flipped the answer, I didn't hear a single negative thing said about it. It is
Sam,
in fact living up to its hype in my perspective.
probably one of the stars of Blade Show for me, and just in terms of like community hype, because yeah, I mean it was the one thing that there was a bunch of people that were interested in it that had purchased one that were flipping them. The one at their booth was so pretty. Oh my gosh, the like blue green anno that they were able to get onto it. Ah,
Yeah.
oh, it was so
I
nice.
I still hold I still hold strongly to the fact that I picked the prettiest one that they had, which is this amazing
Yours is very
pink
nice.
with yellow in the middle. Yeah, it had the most pink on it, and that's what caught my eye, because pink is peak, and this Bally is just, yeah, it's absolutely amazing. It ended up being number 11 serialized. So
There you go. Yeah, I love
yeah.
sunset fade so much. I'm partial to my green, but I do. My first ever custom balisong that I got anodized was actually a sunset orange to pink like yours. So I have a
Nice.
soft spot for it. Yours does look very, very nice. I am
Thank you.
curious, what did you do after? Because you're early bird and you have like
Yeah.
you pay extra essentially in case you're not familiar for an extra hour of like exclusive access. So general doors don't open till 11, early bird doors open at 10. You basically have the run of the place. I how many other Balisong flippers were even in there for early bird? There were probably a good amount, but not nearly what it would
Yeah.
be when general admission opens
I
up.
if I had to guess, I would say maybe I don't know, maybe a dozen were around our group. There was another half dozen to a dozen ahead of us that were going in a different direction. I don't know how many were behind us,
Hmm.
but I would say, I mean, there were probably at least, at least two dozen, dedicated Balisong people that were at my point in line or further ahead. And again, probably many because again, we were lined up specifically for the baller room, and a lot of not a lot of the baller room, but yeah, actually, it was a small section of the baller room that was Bally. Now that I think
Yeah,
about it, but.
just that
Uh,
one, two rows.
I don't want to undersell the Bally crowd that was part of the early bird, but I would say a couple dozen, I'm sure.
More than I expected, honestly. I kind of in my head when I think of early bird, I think of like 30 people in there total, but it's far, far more than that. I have seen the early bird passes, the line that it
Yeah,
creates.
yeah.
Um,
The line outside before they split us up between the baller room and the main floor was significant, to say the
yeah.
least.
So what did you just mill around and look at Balisongs? Was that like your dedicated, like, I'm gonna look at stuff that other companies have available, or 'cause this is your first time
That
seeing a
would,
lot of these, right? You kind of have the
yeah.
treasure trove.
I did have the treasure trove. I had all the time in the world, and in a perfect world, yes, that would be exactly what I did. However, I'm very socially anxious and socially awkward. So what I ended up doing was I ended up stuffing the LDY case with the answer in it in my pocket, uh, and started taking a look at the other booths. But I didn't go up to the booths like and start messing around with knives immediately because partially I was worried about the fact that I just made my purchase. Nothing that I see at these tables are going to be things that I'm purchasing. So I don't
Right.
want to block anybody who might actually be trying to make a purchase. So I was a little apprehensive about spending too much time at any particular booths, except the squid booth because the way that they had theirs set up, there was a lot of counter space, and along that counter space they had demo units. So I felt a little bit more comfortable walking up to those demo units and getting to try them out. So I know
Right.
Friday morning before general admission opened up, I know that I had made my way over to the squid booth and got to try my hand on the Madco, which I had never flipped before. Also, the Live Blade Madco, I got to try that out, and the marbled Nautilus.
Mm,
So I did take the opportunity before the crowds got too big to check out those. I went over and I took a look at the AcidWorks booth because I know Paul had just been talking on stream right ahead of Blade Show that he was going to be bringing a new addition to the Zyzix line that had a little bit shorter handles and had some cutouts on the blade to offset the balance. And so I went over it and I knew I took a look at that. But beyond that, um, I found myself very just overwhelmed by uh, having so much to look at, being worried about getting in somebody's way who was trying to make a purchase. So I was very, like I said, very apprehensive about uh, you know getting too much hand-on time before I really got the temperature of the room. And honestly, before the hour was up, I found myself out in the hallway finding people in the general admission line that I recognized and were familiar with and could talk to and kind of show my purchase of, or show my purchase to. And honestly, I want to say I probably made my way out there, out in the hallway, away from the showroom floor, probably within the first 20 minutes. So
Oh
I made
wow,
my
okay.
purchase. I did a quick run through, took a look at the booths, it just kind of visually familiarized myself with what the section looked like. And then, I mean, for lack of a better phrase, I kind of hightailed it from there and went into panic mode of, okay, I need to find familiar faces. Because once that purchase was made, I was kind of lost in the crowd of people, and that familiarity was then gone. So I needed to
Right.
to find some familiar faces to get comfortable again.
Fair. So early bird, that's actually I don't think because Brandon in the past usually would get like a creator badge, and I don't think they would let you go in before general admission with a creator pass or a media pass or whatever they refer to it as. So I think this is
Hmm.
actually our first time diving into what early bird is actually like for someone who actually purchased a ticket, which is why I spent a little bit more time on it than I really planned to. So let's go ahead and get into the rest of the day. I mean, this
Yeah.
is generally Friday for me. I got there probably 11:30 and I beelined to Machine Wise. That was the
Okay.
main thing. They announced that they had Damascus stuff, they had tutorials I had heard, they had just a bunch of stuff and I'm like, I want to see it. There were a few people that like waved at me and I kind of just had to like I kind of like hi hi and then just continue continue going.
Yep.
I think I did actually
I was
pass
about
you.
to say yes, you
Yeah.
did. I was actually about to say I can attest to the fact that you beelined it. You nothing else mattered. It was straight onto Machine Wise. We screamed out, hey Ethan. You were like, hey, not even eye contact. You were just you were a focused man.
That is unfortunate. Like being someone who people recognize in the community and will want to like come up and talk to, it is the one chance that I have to actually go and look at something before I get pulled into 15 different conversations between friends that I haven't seen in a while, between people that I wanted to meet like you. So I was like, I hate to do this, but before I'm like really in Blade Show mode, I just need to go. So made it over to Machine Wise, and then I didn't leave Machine Wise again because people like there was a lot of talking, probably for the next hour and a half. And I think that's where you and I actually like formally met. Is you came
Hmm.
over to me standing on the side of Machine Wise, and then we actually properly got introduced, which was wonderful. I had been
Yeah.
you and I had been talking for a while leading up to the show. So meeting you in
Yep.
person was one of my I mean, not even one of my. It was like top 5 things that I wanted to do at Blade Show this year. Top five
Oh,
things that I
thank you.
needed to make sure that I was like, this is happening. It needs to happen.
Right.
And thankfully, we got to
Yeah.
talk plenty more past that. But Friday for me, as I said before, is kind of familiarizing myself with the show. So like do a tour of the booths and things like that. Kind of what you did a little bit in Early Bird. So I think it's a
Hmm.
good time to talk about the booths that were there and kind of our favorites. You
Yeah.
went to LDY. You got the
Yep.
answer. Um, did you have like a favorite booth? Maybe it was LDY, maybe it was something else. But
As far as a favorite booth, I mean LDY housing the answer. Needless to say, that was my primary number one booth. From there, though, I really liked the setup of Squid's booth.
Okay.
The way that they had their demo unit set up, and the way that they weren't set up where if you wanted to grab a demo unit, for me especially, again, socially awkward, socially anxious, with a lot of those booths, for you to go and pick up and flip a balisong, you are literally standing right in front of, in most cases, the maker of that balisong, or somebody who works for the company that makes that balisong.
Right.
And that wasn't the case with Squid's booth because it was so spread out and the demo units were so spread out that you didn't, I mean, there wasn't necessarily somebody on the other side of that table if you were to pick up a demo unit and start playing with it,
Right.
which I was very comfortable with because I didn't feel like, I was playing with something that I knew I wasn't going to purchase. I didn't feel like there was any pressure or that anybody was going to be asking me, okay, hey, what are you looking for, or anything like that. It gave me the opportunity to pick up some stuff that I hadn't played around with yet, at my own leisure, without the pressure of watching eyes.
Right.
So Squid's booth was good for me in that regard. And then the other one that, at least on day one, the other one that I really liked was Paul's booth, the Acid Works stuff.
Yep.
It was really crowded. It was hard to kind of edge your way in, but I liked Paul's setup, and I liked the fact that Acid Works was right on the end, so it was kind of a corner unit. That gave you a little bit more room to kind of be at the table. You didn't necessarily have to be right in front of it to still be able to see what was on it and
Right.
and what they had to offer.
And
What about you?
Paul's booth is usually really cool just because he will usually like allow other people to also show at his booth. So like the Acid Works will be like a small part of the
Yeah,
actual shop soe, however you pronounce that booth, which is
yeah,
very, very cool. So it's always cool to go over there and see. Actually, I didn't spend it. I think the only time I got any dedicated time at his booth was when he was not there, like he was perusing the floor. And I
yeah.
actually barely got to talk to Paul, which is upsetting. But that's kind of the story
Oh,
of
that's a
Blade
bummer.
Show. There's always people that you end up you're like, I wish I talked to them more. But my favorite booth, it should go without saying, there were actually two. Machine wise, as usual, they were
Yep.
actually in the Balisong area this time. So if you went last year, they were just in the middle. There's two rooms if you've never been to Blade Show. There's the smaller room, which is where you'll find most of the Balisong people, and then there's the big, massive, I can't find anyone in this room.
Yeah.
And Machine Wise was kind of buried in there last year. So this year they brought it back over. It was really nice to see. Honestly, like
Hmm.
business wise, probably also a great thing because they made all the people who wanted a Sonora have to come filter through to the Balisong section and maybe get exposed
Right.
to some of what we're doing over here. But their booth was awesome. They had a lot of awesome products. And then Andrew Myers knocked my socks off, which we will get into eventually.
Yep.
It's usually a good sign if I come home on how I enjoy a maker's knives. If I come away having bought something that was not even on my list. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, there were those were the two standouts. LDY was
Yeah.
also
And one
great.
thing that I
Go
was just
ahead.
gonna say one thing that I will say, with regards to how I liked, Paul's booth and the accessibility there, and very much the like not in your face of Squid. I will say, after you had mentioned it, Machine Wise's setup was very, very much kind of a perfect combination between those two. I mean, you had theirs was also kind of like an L setup,
Yeah.
and the demo units were on the end of the L, and that was very open. Like right behind that was like the exit doors, so lots of space, and that too, very, very comfortable to just go pick up one of their demo units. They would keep an eye on you to make sure you weren't running away
Right.
with an $800 Balisong, but very, very low key, very comfortable, and a lot of space to just kind of let everything sink in.
Yeah, no, I like their booth a lot. And honestly, we'll just start because I do kind of want to like we're gonna have to kind of do it quick because there's way too much to cover everything, but just kind of
Yeah.
go through some of the booths, some of the things that we liked about each of the knives that they had there. We'll start with one of your favorites, Squid. They
Yep.
had I'm just gonna list off things and then we'll kind of get into details about things we have better thoughts of, but they had the Live Madco, the
Hmm.
Marbled Nautilus, the
Hmm.
Damascus Glide Kraken, Titanium Surf Prototype, Andrew Meyer's collaboration Tsunamis, and I think that is it. Is there anything else? I'm
Yeah.
like just Blade Show specific stuff. Obviously, they had their whole lineup: Squid Trainers, Makos, all that.
Almost their whole lineup.
Almost their whole lineup. Yeah,
Almost their whole lineup.
yeah. They did not.
There was a surprise in what they didn't have,
They didn't have
from
any
my
normal
perspective at least.
Krakens, which is
No,
just
not a
like
single Kraken V3.
it's kind of unbelievable to me because every time I've gone there, you're spoiled for choice. You get, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, you've got like a Blade Show exclusive color of the Kraken, and then you've got like a silver or a black one or whatever they decide to bring. Maybe they'll bring like a couple random colors that they keep in like the bargain bin that they have there, but it was just Glide Krakens. I felt so
Nothing
bad
but Glide
because
Krakens.
I've
It
been
was
hyping it
crazy.
up to Unk that you're going to be able to try whatever Kraken you want. Oh, you'll be able to try every
Right.
single Kraken that they make. It'll be so easy. And
Yep.
then we get there and there's no normal Krakens. So
No, I'm so because originally, before I had a Kraken, I was going to be waiting for Blade Show, and that was going to be one of my purchases. And now I'm really, really, really glad that that I ended up, ordering a Kraken ahead of time, and then
yeah,
the community gifted me a Kraken ahead of time, and I didn't have to worry about that. But I know Grim was going to be, her plan was to pick up a Kraken. Her first thing she was going to do was go to Squid Industries, get a Kraken, and yeah, they
I
didn't
can't
have any of
believe
the
that.
regular ones. They only had the Glide. It was completely unbelievable.
I am
Yeah,
so I'm so surprised by that.
yep.
Oh man, there were
I could
so
not
many
believe it.
people.
Again,
I
I've only been in the hobby for 11 months. I shouldn't know that that is so bizarre, but it's just such a staple, a mainstay of any Balisong conversation. Eventually, the Kraken V3 is going to come up, and there wasn't a single one at the booth.
and the Glide
It
was
was just
good.
wild.
I enjoyed the Glide Krakens. They were very good. The Tonto one especially was very good. But a Kraken
Yeah,
was also on my list because I only have my like super special 1 of 40 Damascus Kraken from my first Blade show, and
yeah.
I don't like you saw a bunch of Krakens there. People bash their
Yeah.
Krakens into the ground. It's their beaters. They flip them everywhere.
Oh,
Like I
right.
kind of wanted something like that. This is my
Yep.
workhorse knife. I can use it and flip it literally wherever I want. I don't care what happens to it. It will be fine. And it was gone. So that was
No,
a
and
little
your only
disappointing.
option was the Glide. Yeah.
I
Yep.
I
Not
kind of
expecting it.
I kind of was disappointed in Squid's booth in general because usually they like their I shouldn't say their booth. Their booth was amazing, but what they brought to Blade Show didn't really reflect previous years in terms of like stock quantity and, new prototypes that they're getting feedback on and stuff like that, which I
Hmm.
totally understand from a business perspective. Maybe in the past they brought way too much and they just didn't want to deal
Yeah.
with it this year. Totally fair, but Squid has kind of always been a staple of like you want to try something, you go to Squid's booth, they're going to have it, or
Yeah.
you want to try a new prototype that they're like taking feedback on that they may or may not listen to, there you go. You can try it there. So a bit weird. I can't really say, oh my gosh, I totally forgot the biggest thing. The Mutalisk, the Jerry Hom
Yes,
X
I was
Squid
gonna.
collab.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna let you forget that one because that one was a surprise for me. Because I will admit that when they started releasing the photos ahead of time in sections, and then obviously everybody just pieced all three photos together, and we knew what it looked like. And I wasn't a huge fan of its aesthetic. I didn't have any real excitement over flipping it. until the first time that I did, and then my mind was blown by how well that thing fanned.
I know the tip weight on it. You wouldn't think that it would fan well, but it somehow does. And that's kind of always been a
Yeah.
staple of the Jerry Hom knives. I was very
Okay.
impressed how well they were able to take a Jerry Hom design and make it into like a full production thing, like a heavily manufactured, produced, high stock number balisong. Unfortunately, I was incredibly disappointed by the price. I don't think there was really ever a
Mm.
world where I would have bought one, to be honest with you. But in a world where they're charging 350 for it, which is technically a fair price,
Yeah.
I that the chance that I ever would have bought one just went out the window with that. For me personally.
Gotcha.
Um,
Yeah. No, I mean, I went into it with no expectations as far as the Ham collab. But again, like as soon as I flipped it, then that's when my eyes opened up to, okay, I don't mind the design as much as I thought I did. The more it was in my hand, and again, I mean, flipping the thing, I wasn't expecting for it to flip as well as it did.
right.
I did find myself very much enjoying it. Still, probably not a purchase that I would have made. I would have found other things
Mm-hmm.
like the Aeon that I most probably would have ended up biting the bullet on. But I did find appreciation in it. That at least I did have.
Yeah, I think that was probably my favorite thing from the Squid booth this year. I'm not a huge Mako fan or Madco fan,
Hmm.
and the Glide stuff was good, but I think they also charged a premium for the Glide, and I really was just looking for a stock Kraken. Maybe they had it in their bargain bin. I wasn't
Yeah.
able to look, but I didn't spend a ton of time. I will say the Andrew Myers collab tsunamis were incredible. They looked amazing. If I ever owned a tsunami, I would want it to be one of those. Those were very
Yeah.
nice.
I'm gonna admit I didn't see one knowingly.
Oh,
I
really?
didn't see one at the booth. If somebody had purchased one and I saw it there, I probably didn't recognize it for what it was. But yeah, admittedly, I that one completely went under my radar. However, prior to getting in the showroom floor, I had a couple opportunities to flip some of Squid's Nautilus, other people's Nautilus, and I don't want to say Nautili, but I can't think of another way to say it. Um, and I was not a fan of the Nautilus in any way, shape, or form every single time I flipped one. But I will admit
Solidarity,
when I
brother.
had well, when I picked up and I flipped the that marbled Nautilus, I don't know if that one was somehow unique in comparison to others, or if it was just my brain saying, "Hey, this marble is really cool," and my brain just allowed for the valley to be better appreciated. But I can say that their marbled Nautilus demo I flipped, and I actually really enjoyed it.
Hmm. I think it was just
Yeah.
G10, so unless it was the live blade that you were feeling the difference on, um,
I don't recall. I just
that's
know
okay.
whichever one I picked up that had the marbled handles, I really thoroughly enjoyed it. It may have been the fact that it was G10.
As far as other heavy hitters during the show that are like Blade Show specific things, we already went over the answer. The Machine
Yeah.
Wise booth, all of their Damascus stuff was so nice, but so far out of my price range.
Yeah.
Ultimately, what I ended up spending on Blade Show, which I didn't really fully expect to, but I did anyway. I could have probably purchased one of them if I just traded everything that I bought just for one of those, which honestly, looking back, maybe it's tempting,
Might have
but
been worth
it might have been
it.
worth it. I freaking
I don't
love
know,
Damascus
man.
stuff and I love
You
Machine
love
Wise
that
stuff. So
peon
owning
or
like a
that
one of one
Aeon.
Machine Wise thing like that,
That's
I
true.
do love
Yeah.
that Aeon. The Aeon is the one thing that hangs me up. I think the
Yeah.
other two things I got, I could have probably gone without. The Aeon is the one thing that
Hmm.
hangs me up on actually wanting to make that trade. But those things were so nice.
Yeah. agreed. I didn't spend time with the Andrew Myers booth until I think day two. Not a whole lot of time with it. Um, but once I did, I fully understand the Aeon hype and the Peon hype for that matter. But I totally get where everybody's coming from. Those things were amazing to flip.
I can't believe how little he charges for them because I went there expecting to buy a peon. I had tried Ted's like
Hmm.
a few weeks before. It's like, okay, yeah, this will probably be what I purchase. I want to own something from Andrew Myers, but I can't spend $800 on like an Aeon or something like that.
Yeah.
So Peon shows up. It's good. I like it. And then he goes, "Oh yeah, you can also try the Aeon with a full G10 titanium version of the Peon." Um,
Yep.
and he's like, "Oh yeah, that'll be 450." I was like, "Excuse
I'm
me?
sorry, what?
Excuse me? 400
Right.
dollars more for this thing?
Right.
Wow." Which
Yeah,
my Peon actually
your
looks, or my Peon, my Aeon actually looks different than when you last saw it. I actually did
yeah,
this while I was
you
watching your
swapped them out, didn't
stream.
you?
I did.
Yeah.
Because
That's
initially it
another
was,
really cool thing that they do is they offer both sets so that you can I mean despite the fact that what you're getting now and the reason why it's not as expensive is you're not getting a fully customized unit. You're
right.
getting a predefined aesthetic, but despite that, they still add extra scales in there so that you can to
Well,
whatever degree you
I
want.
did pay
Oh,
extra
was
for
that a
them.
package?
Yes.
Okay.
It was an extra 50 because they charge $50 for like a new set of solid color scales. So they said
Mm-hmm.
for 50 extra bucks, we'll throw in the opposite of what yours is. And I was like, well, I
Gotcha.
like how it looks with the black and then the color at the bottom. So I guess I'll spend
Gotcha.
extra money on it. Um, the only other thing that they pack in, which the unboxing experience is incredible. By the time that this video comes up, I should have made a full video on this. So go check that video out to see the unboxing experience of that. But the only other thing Balisong wise that they added in there was shorter spacers. So this was initially blue spacers. Then they also included a set of like just short spacers because you can see the spacer comes up to about here. So then you could
Yep.
get a blue one that ends like about here instead.
Oh, gotcha.
But Andrew Myers easily my star of the show because I didn't expect to come out with an Aeon and I came out with an Aeon. And besides the 10 minutes after I bought it, where I was like, holy shit, I should not have spent that much money, I have not regretted it for a
Yeah.
second beyond
I-
that. It has been incredible.
Yeah, I think there were a lot of people. I mean, I met a lot of people that did not go up to that booth with the expectation that they were going to be walking away with something. And a lot of people at the show picked up an Aeon where they weren't, where
Yeah.
that wasn't on their list of things, just because number one, just how amazing it was to flip, and number two, the fact that the price had dropped so dramatically. It was almost dropped by 50%, right? Like
Basically, yeah,
forty
because I
percent
think
drop.
I
Yeah,
think the initial Aeons were 950, I want to say.
yeah,
And that was the number, like, because if you saw me at Blade Show, this was like the only thing that I was flipping. I didn't, usually I will like change what's in my pockets and okay, I'll take the cheese. Now I'll do the serif. Now I'll do this. That. It was only this in my pocket all weekend. So if you saw me, you probably got a chance to flip this. And the number one thing that people were like, I thought you didn't like $1,000 ballad songs. Why'd you buy this? I was like, it was 450. They were like, 450. I need to go check out this
yep,
booth. So
right.
holy cow, Andrew Myers, I'd probably give you my Star of Blade Show award personally. Just
Yeah,
because I was that impressed with everything there. Everything at the booth was amazing. You can even get like aluminum scales for down here. Actually, I think you can get full sets of aluminum scales. It's so nice. There's so many options. I'm trying to figure
right.
out if I want to anodize the inside, but I think I do like the silver. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, I would honestly say, I mean, obviously I went in with the answer in mind. That was my predefined star of the show, but the unexpected champion for me, the one that I was not going in with any expectation for it. Not in a bad way. I just, I knew I wasn't going to be getting one, so I didn't. I wasn't hard set on this needs to be great. I really
Right.
want this to meet my expectations, and it would again be like you said, Andrew Myers, because both the Aeon and the Peon. I spent a great deal of time flipping those at the booth and was just completely blown away by how well it performed.
Yeah, absolutely my Star of Blade show there. Which would
My only drawback on it is the fact that it's a false live, um, but I can't tell you how many people, because I was the unofficial Blade Show 2026 duller of Bally's.
you
I had
were.
at least 5 people that would come running to me from across the pit screaming, "Unc, will you dull my Bally?" Because everybody knew I had sandpaper with me because I don't like cutting myself. And someone actually brought me a false live Aeon asking if I could take the edge off of
Oh,
the
the
tip,
choil.
because the
Yeah.
tip is so sharp. And I looked at it and I had to say, I am so sorry, but I don't know that I can do that without, like, I mean, because when you take the cutting edge off of a Bally, all you're doing is you're taking a very, very small amount of material off of the very edge. It's still sharp. It could still cut you. It just won't cut you
Right.
unless you're going like full speed. And with that, there was no way that you would be able to take that edge off of the tip without defacing the tip, which I could not justify doing, even if asked to.
Right. That's fair.
Yeah,
Um,
that's my only drawback, but absolutely amazing ballad song. I loved flipping it, and if they were all sold out of this, knowing that I had the funds set aside to get the answer, I most probably would have been walking away with an Aeon as well.
Fair. Yeah,
Yeah.
mine was a bit more of an impulse purchase, considering that I had budgeted enough to buy a peon, maybe even less. Like I was like, okay, I'm gonna spend like $300.
Hmm.
Um, we're gonna go into this. Unfortunately, my impulse purchase of this already put me over that, and then also got me into even more trouble, which we'll get into with my next purchases. But again, I don't regret a thing. I'm very happy with it.
Yeah.
So,
Nice.
I think there were some other booths that like were kind of standouts to me just because I wasn't aware of who they were before. There was the TOA booth. There was
Hmm.
the Taluya, Talia. I don't know if you got over there. Did you go to the Balisong trainer booth that was like kind of off in the baller room on like the left side, kind of? I don't even know how to describe where it was.
No, no. As a matter of fact, I thought that I didn't know that there were any other Balisong booths in the baller room that weren't in that front corner.
Yep.
So I spent very little time at the other booths within the baller room, though I did check out some booths in the main room that had Balisongs. So no, I like the Toa booth. I've seen pictures of it,
Hmm.
and I'm totally kicking myself for not having made my way there, because from what I saw, I mean, some of the blade designs were absolutely amazing. The fact that a lot of them were running Teflon handles, Teflon coating, which I'm a big fan of. Um, yeah, no, I totally missed those.
Yeah. I didn't spend a ton of time there either, but there were some hype things that came out of that I've seen people talking about. The booth that
Hmm.
was over, it was a knife, like a folding knife company, but they had a whole line of Balisong trainers, some of which were Teflon coated, which was crazy to
Yeah,
me because I thought Teflon was just like a thing that like Nibali's did, and we haven't
right.
really seen any other companies really get into it. So in order to come to the conclusion of, hey, I should put Teflon coating on a Balisong, I feel like you kind of have to be in the know with Balisongs. And this company
Right.
obviously was, because all of their trainers flipped good or decent to good. Some even like really
Yeah.
well. So I was kind of impressed by that. Here, I wish I could remember the name. It's on a picture on my phone, but I'm using my phone as my camera, so I can't look right now. It was like Talia or Talua knife or something like that.
Okay.
And then, other than that, there were obviously like your JK designs. There were
Hmm.
your oh, there was Freedom Fabrication, the Buffness's
Yep, the
company.
Buffness's first appearance at Blade Show as a vendor.
That was very
I
cool.
know, yeah, I know that I had during the early bird access. I know I had stopped at the booth and checked it out, but again, I was very overstimulated, so that kind of uh, went by me very quickly, and I didn't really digest what it was that I was doing.
Right.
Later, I had to go back to the booth to actually flip um,
Flagship.
the flagship. Thank you. And I was really impressed by the weight and the feel in the hand just from start to finish. My little time flipping it, because again, not making a purchase, didn't want to spend too much time taking up space. But I was actually really impressed by how it flipped
Yeah,
and the design in general. It looked really neat.
I liked it more than I thought I would. I will admit, I flipped a Bowie for the first time, and I unironically thought I was flipping one of his Kraken rehandles because his Bowie blade looks just to me from memory so much like a Bowie Kraken blade. I'm sure if you put them next to each other, there's differences there, but it
Yeah.
was impressive considering I had a bunch of issues with the G10 scales on the Zika, which
Hmm.
was produced. I believe the G10 scales were produced by Buffness, or
Yep.
by Freedom Fabrication. Um, I was impressed with
Yeah,
how much
and
I enjoyed the
yeah, and then
G10
they did
on.
the yeah, then they came back and they did the second iteration of the Zika
Yep.
scales. And I mean, my assumption is lessons were learned and things were figured out.
Yes.
Because yeah, I mean the handles on the flagship were really nice in the hand. They were really smooth.
Right. Yeah. I enjoyed the flagship far more than I thought I would. I don't even know the price on it. I had zero intentions of buying one, just not because it was like bad or anything, just because there were so many other things that topped my list before that did. But it's something that I'll
Yep.
definitely keep my eye on in the future. I think
Yeah.
Buffness made a good impression. Although I will say I walked past the booth quite a few times because I didn't realize it was his booth. Previously,
Hmm.
next to LDY, there was like a private, it was just like a dude on Instagram that bought a table and was just like selling his collection for the past few years.
Okay.
And I kind of thought that that's just what it was. So I walked past it a few times before realizing, oh shoot, that's the flagship. I should probably give that a try.
Gotcha.
Um, can you think of any other like Blade Show specific like booths or knives that people would want to hear about? Because like there were more, like I said, there was like the JK booth, but JK didn't really have anything new. Um, there
Yep.
was LDY. We talked about the answer. Everything else from LDY that was fairly normal, fairly standard. There was like a prototype that they were.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm assuming you're talking about the same prototype that I kind of fell in love with as soon as I picked it up.
The cone.
It yes, it
Yep.
wasn't out the first day. It was out the second day. It was the what is it called? It was called the, I believe it is the Heritage Comb is what it's called,
Okay.
but it's by PR Balisong. It had a really cool looking dual tone comb blade. So the back edge by the spine was black, and I want to say inside the tines were black too. And then the rest of it was shiny steel, and then it was on titanium handles that felt I don't want to say rounded, but they gave me a similar like octagonal feel in the
Mm-hmm.
hand that my Orion S does.
Yep.
And anybody who knows me and has ever tuned into my stuff knows full well I am absolutely astonished with as much as I love the Orion S comb. And I would say in a heartbeat, if I had the opportunity to trade it in for the PR Balisong Heritage comb, I would do so in a moment because the
Wow.
thing flipped like a dream. It just
High
it
praise.
fanned great. Just absolutely everything about it I loved. I immediately found out that it was because when I was talking to the folks at LDY, I was asking questions about it, and they were like, "This actually isn't one of our Balisongs. This is a prototype. This is my personal unit. I just wanted to put it out here for people to see." So I found out it was a Bali by PR Balisong. I confirmed that I'm following them, and immediately it was on my radar for let me know if I see any traction in it moving from prototype to actually being made in mass production, because it's definitely something that I am going to want to add to my collection.
High praise. Holy cow. Because I do know how much you love
Yeah.
your Orion.
Yes.
So with that, that's kind of the booths, the lay of the land, the ballad songs that were kind of exclusive to Blade Show or that really shocked us at Blade Show. I do want to
Yeah.
give a shout out to the Machine Wise Tutori for no particular reason.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but again, we'll talk about purchases in a little bit here because I didn't actually purchase anything day one. I didn't spend a ton of time at the show day one, but what I did was talk to a bunch of people. And I do want to give a huge thank you to everyone who came up and either offered me something from your collection to flip or wanted to flip something from my collection, take a picture, just chat, whatever it was. I appreciate it. It was really nice seeing everyone. And I bring all this up because you are a new content creator going to Blade Show for
I
the
am.
first time. Actually, you're
Yeah.
almost exactly in the position that I was going into my first Blade Show. I've been flipping for 9 or 10 months at that point. Was going for the first time, excited to try all these different things and talk to all these different people.
Hmm.
And I do want to ask, did you get recognized by someone
I
who watched your
did.
streams?
I did. It was surreal. So I got recognized by people who I then recognized as soon as they said who they were. So they let me know how they pop up in my streams, and immediately I knew who they were. Recognized by people who were in my Discord server. Who again I had to ask, what's your handle? What do you go by? And then immediately knew who they were. That I was somewhat expecting because I knew some people who tune into my streams, some people who are on my Discord, I knew were going to be at Blade Show. What I was not expecting was people that, I mean, even some people that I didn't know and I wasn't currently following at the time would, come up to me and say, "Hey, I wanted to meet you. I wanted to introduce myself." And that was very, very surreal. I wasn't expecting that. So I was expecting to be recognized by a small handful of people. I ended up getting recognized by a lot more than that, but was approached and introduced to other people far more than I was expecting.
Nice. So it's a
Yeah,
cool,
it was
probably
it was
adds to
really
the
cool.
stress. I'm sure it's a weird feeling having someone
A
come up to you who
little,
you've never met going,
yeah,
I know you. You're that person that I know far more about you than you know about me. I've always found that weird because I generally
yeah.
like to get to know the people that I'm talking to, but with interactions like that, it's like there's no way that I could know that you are someone who's watched all of my videos because if you never comment or whatever, and we've never really gotten to interact before. So it
Yeah.
definitely adds to the stress a little bit, but it's an interesting thing. Um,
See, for me, it actually didn't add to the stress nearly as
okay.
much as alleviated a lot of it
Oh, that's
because,
nice.
uh, yeah, because immediately, like the people who recognize me from Discord and from my streams, obviously, I already have to a certain degree, a relationship with these people as soon as I identified who they were. So I could ask them questions about, hey, how's this thing going? How's this bally flipping? I knew you had, this order coming in. Has it come in yet? But even the people that I didn't know, they were more, I mean, it wasn't just it didn't feel to me like it was just random people coming up to me wanting to know my life story. It was people who, understood that, I have been open about, I don't people very well, and this is going to be stressful. And a lot of them came up to me with that in mind, asking how everything was going, asking
Mm,
how the show was going, if there was anything that I needed. Letting me know their take on what it is that I do, because anybody who doesn't know me, my big thing is creating a positive atmosphere in the Balisong community. I tailor all of my stuff to people who have bad days, people who don't feel seen and acknowledged, and people who never hear the words "I love you." So that being kind of my positive spin that I put on my participation in the community, I was getting a lot of that back. A lot of people were coming up to me, acknowledging what I do, acknowledging what I'm trying to do, and what I'm trying to create within the community. And I got nothing but high praises for it, and got to meet a lot of cool people that I'm really glad they took the time to find me and introduce themselves. It was really,
that's
really neat.
that's so awesome. Thank you all very
Yeah,
much. It's always a fun part of
absolutely.
Blade Show, getting to talk with people, even if I never can give everyone enough time that I generally want to. It's the ever revolving door of Blade Show. There's just not enough time. And in that
Yeah.
vein, day one actually went fairly quickly. I mean, we left right kind of after
Um.
we met you to go to lunch. And then by the time
Okay.
we get back in, the show ends like 6. So you've got like
Hmm.
2 or 3 hours left. Usually that time for me is just spent sitting around a flipping group or like opening up my case to let people try stuff. Some people will come up and hand me things that they want me to try. How was your like average day at Blade Show? Like what was your
Um.
like moment to moment, like what were you doing?
Uh. As far as all days, or as far as like
Like just on
day one
average.
before things, well, I will say, as far as day one, each day was different for me, because each day got easier because I was approached by more people. I was able to talk to more people and get more familiar and more comfortable with the atmosphere.
Mhm.
So in all honesty, I would say, you said you showed up, you got to the show around 11.
Something like probably no, because that's when doors open. Probably 11:30 or 12, honestly.
Okay. So I would say, before you had even arrived at the show, I was already outside of the convention center, texting my wife about how just overstimulating the entire thing was, and that I was doing everything that I could to not head back to the hotel, to just take a breather. So midday, day one, I was very intentionally going hour by hour, to make sure that I didn't go back to the hotel, that I didn't lose the opportunity to interact with the community. But it was a lot for me because I hadn't met a whole lot of people yet. Whereas on Saturday and on Sunday, that wasn't the case anymore. I wasn't playing it, hour by hour. How is Scott doing? I was just enthralled in the conversations that people were having, the flipping circles that people were in, and just moving with the ebbs and flows of the show. But yeah, day one was very rough for me, from a, can I handle this? I don't know if I can handle this. And
Fair.
slowly but surely, because there were so, like, going back to that, my first experience on Thursday, getting to meet that group of people. There were people within that group, knowing that I was, probably going to be struggling, that actually sought me out. Like Brian, for example, Beaver, um,
Love that guy.
actively took it. Me too. He took it upon himself to actively seek me out every couple hours, just to check on me and make sure that I was doing okay.
Oh, that's awesome.
That Yeah, that in and of itself, and he wasn't the only one. Like I said, anybody who knew that I kind of went into this knowing that I was going to have a struggle, everybody was asking, hey, how are things going? Is there anything that you need? Do you need, just what does Unc need? And
Right.
and everybody took care of me, and it was really, really awesome. It was really amazing. But aside from that, I mean, let's see, what was the original question?
What
What
was
did
like
each of my
your
days look
what was
like?
like your moment to moment, like what did you spend a majority of your time doing at Blade Show? Were you walking the floor looking at knives? Were you sitting in flipping circles? Like,
I was looking for people. So, after day one, basically when I would get to Blade, I would beeline it to the baller room and kind of just do my quick circle around there to see, okay, who all is set up. Because this year, I guess in past years, Squid has had a section for flippers to
yep.
be able to sit and chill out. They didn't have that this year. So we kind of had a couple makeshift areas where people still did that anyways. So, I would go into the baller room and I would scope it out and figure out who was there, see some familiar faces, and then I would make my way over to the pit and see how busy it was there. Sometimes I had gotten over to the pit before crowds started showing up, so there were only, sometimes there was nobody there, and sometimes it was just, two or three people sitting on one of the benches talking. So in that case, I would turn around and I would go back to the baller room because that's where the flippers were gathered. But that's basically what I did was find familiar faces and then just hang out. And if that hanging out was Grim and I going from booth to booth looking at stuff, or Dusuko and Liz and I and Grim going through the main floor, looking for where the free carabiners were, or finding Jack and Shroom, or Vaughn and Micah or Odo in the pit and hanging out there. Yeah, I basically went with the flow. Once I had the answer, everything else was just, for me, everything else was community. It was cool seeing the Ballys in the booths. It was cool seeing the booths themselves. But I mean, I was there for the people at that point.
Yeah. I mean, that's generally why I go every year as well. The ballad songs are fun, but talking to everyone is really the highlight of it. Uh,
Yep.
it, it sounds like you had kind of like a core group, which was nice. This was actually my first year that I didn't really have like a buddy for the whole show. As weird as that
Yeah.
sounds, because previously there would be Ty, or last year I was staying with Brandon, so I hung out with him for most of the show. This year I stayed with Will, so Will was kind of like my buddy, but also he was busy for most of the show, so I didn't really like
Yeah.
spend a ton of time hanging out with him specifically. So I kind of just bounced between groups. Like I would be like, okay, there's Pyro. I'm gonna talk to Pyro. I wish I
Hmm.
could keep talking to Pyro. I need to stop talking to Pyro. I need to go talk to Unk. Now I wish I could keep talking to Unk. I need to stop talking to Unk. I'm gonna go find Dasuko and Liz, and then I'm
Yep.
gonna go find this person, and then rinse and repeat
Yeah.
until somehow 6 or 8 hours have passed without me realizing it, and now it's time to go home. Um,
Well, and interestingly, while it may seem like I had a core group, my experience was very much what you just described,
oh, okay.
because I did have that initial introduction to that group that I had originally referenced from Thursday, but then as soon as I got to the pit, I had already met, like, my first IRL experience with Balisong people was the opportunity to meet and flip with Vav and Maddie, both of which who were there. So I got to spend time with them. And then there's a lot of YouTubers, yourself included, that were there that know who I am and have interacted with me in my
Mm-hmm.
streams, and I obviously know who they are. So like, there were times where my core group was like, you know, Significant Donut and Benjamin and
Great
Colin.
guys.
There were
Yep.
times where my core group was Jack and Shroom and Brian and Odo and that group. There was a good significant part of Friday evening where you were my core group. And then sometimes my core group that same evening, somebody had recognized me, and who it was their first Blade show as well. And this was a really cool experience. It was their first Blade show, and they came up to me and let me know that they recognized me. They felt that I was approachable, and basically asked if it was cool if we hung out for a little bit. And in doing so, I got to introduce them to you, and they then got to meet some other people that I was talking to, and then had later kind of let me know that my interaction with them on Friday helped them on like Saturday and Sunday, continuing to kind of go their own way, meeting new people and joining different groups. But I had, I've mentioned, running around with Grim a lot. There were a lot of different core groups, I'll say, because all of them were core to me, but it was just different points in time.
Right. That's
Yeah.
fair. That's a yeah, pretty representative of what it's like for me at least, and being someone who's in so many of these different groups. Um, but I think even just like your average Blade show goer kind of has a similar experience to that, because you're bouncing between, oh, I watched this person on YouTube. Here's a
Hmm.
flipper that I really look up to that I want to go talk to. I've got my friends that I maybe came with, or people that I talk to online that I want to meet for the first time. So I think it's a really cool
Yeah.
part of Blade Show for that specifically. Um, Friday wrapped up at the pit. We all kind of sat around. I sat kind of vaguely in your vicinity, so we got to interact a little bit more. And the pit's
Yeah.
always fun.
That
Stay for
was a
the pit.
very, very surreal.
Yeah,
Oh yes, the pit was amazing. But yeah, that was very surreal. You and I were sitting there talking. You had your case open, asking me, hey, what do I want to try? While you and I are talking, because I was basically at the end of the bench. So you were across from me. We were hanging out, chatting, flipping. Right to the left of me, Will Hirsch was there with a semicircle of people of all ages trying to interact with him. He recognized me and was like, Unc, what do you want to flip? And I said, I'll flip whatever you think that I should flip. So, there was a solid 30, 45 minutes where I'm talking with you, I'm being handed ballys by Will, and it was like I couldn't have come up with this situation had I had the opportunity to plan out step by step the best Bali experience. That was a scenario I would not have in a million years come up with.
right.
Yeah, yeah. Friday night was awesome.
No, I'm glad you had a good time. If there anything else you want to get for Friday, it's been an hour and 20 minutes and we're not even off of Friday. Thankfully, the rest of the
uh,
days we're not going to be going through the same, like we got a lot of stuff out of the way with Friday, but
yes, yes. The only thing, I mean, do you want to skirt over Acid Bowl altogether, because that was
well, that's
Friday
what
as
I was
well?
going to move on to.
Okay,
Like
perfect.
I meant kind of just like the day activities.
Yeah.
It was
Yep.
acid bowl time at like, gosh, what was it? 8 p.m., 9 p.m., something like
Eight
that.
o'clock. Yeah. Yep.
Really late. I thought it was going to be a little earlier than that, but I guess the show starts at 6 or ends at 6, so there's not really a ton of time. Acid Bowl was really cool this year. So the way that it worked, Acid Bowl last year was kind of just everyone stood around in a circle, and two people would flip, and it was just kind of like a King of the Hill thing. I don't think they had a ton of like thought into what the format was going to look like or anything like that. So this year it was a very different thing. It was the same
Hmm.
kind of like you're in a circle watching like a street performance almost, but there were four gauntlets essentially, and two people would go up, they would flip, whoever wins stays up there, next person comes up, whoever wins stays up there, next person comes up. You do that four separate times to figure out four different winners of each of those gauntlets, which I don't know, maybe you're more familiar with how they scored it. Was it like who had the most wins, or who was still there at the end, or I wasn't
We're
super clear on how they figured that out.
We're talking day one overwhelmed Unk at 9 o'clock. I have
Fair
no
enough.
idea how it all worked
I
out. I
I
just
don't even
saw epic
remember.
flipping. It was amazing.
I think it was the fact that because like Gibby knocked out every single person. He was one of the first people to go up there, and then he just won his entire set. So obviously he was gonna win. I'm kind of confused how that works because if it's like who gets the most wins, then people who come in later are kind of screwed over because even if they win
Yeah.
every game, they can't win as many as someone who started earlier in the competition. I don't really know how they figure
Yep.
that out. I have no idea. But
No.
eventually we got down to four people. Then they would pair off in a bracket, two over here, two over here, and then the winners would face each other for the crown of Acid Bowl. Honestly, I'm kind of with you. I was kind of mentally checked out at this point. I don't even remember who
Yeah.
won. I was just watching cool flipping and awesome moments.
So far, I've had to look it up every single time. The only thing I remember is because I'm not super familiar with this person's username, but the only thing that I remember is that it ended with
Oh, was it still here? Oh,
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yes,
okay.
they are
Yep.
the ones that won. Yep.
So yeah, but Acid Bowl doesn't really seem to me like I know the community gets super into it because like oh it's a competitive thing. I kind of enjoy
Hmm.
it for its kind of more like laid back, kind of hobbled together. Everyone stand in a circle and watch just cool moments of flipping and all of this.
And
I think it works
right.
well as like a spectator sport more so than like a
Yeah.
deep competition and I know there's people who like it for that, totally respect it, but yeah, I love the
Yeah,
vibe
that's
of
that's
Acid
very
Bowl.
much what it was for me. Was just like I didn't care who won.
Right.
For me it was just it was epic flipping. And from there, I mean, there were a number of people. Like I still vividly remember the first time I ever saw Lily flip was during Acid Bowl, and I made a mental note. I need to find Lily, and I need to tell Lily how amazing that flipping was. It was just like I remember, depending on who was flipping and whose turn it was, from where we were sitting, we had the back of one person and then we could see the other person's flipping. And there were a number of times where like said, Ethan, be darned. Anybody else I'm talking with, be darned. I got up and I ran halfway around the room so I
Yep.
could see the other person's flipping because I had seen it before and I knew that I was going to be impressed.
Right.
Whereas, and we'll get into it, but with Bally Comp, with it being much more structured on stage with chairs as opposed to literally a circle of people sitting on the floor around these two flippers, it was just so much harder because one person's back was guaranteed to be to you, but on the same accord, so much more fluid because if you needed to stand up and run around the room to see what you wanted to see, you had the freedom to do that.
It was really nice. I hope Acid Bowl
Yeah.
stays like that. I hope it stays like it feels I know the whole community is kind of grassroots, but it feels so much more grassroots in
Yeah.
and of
Yeah.
itself. And
It well,
I love
it
that
was
about
like
it.
authentic.
Yeah.
I don't want Acid Bowl to become a staged event. I
Yeah,
want it to
I
be a circle of flippers surrounding flippers. That
surrounding a
that was
guy, a judge calling out 5, 4 and losing his voice throughout the night. I I hope that guy
yeah,
had some cough drops because his voice is probably wrecked the next day.
I bet.
But yeah, it
Yep.
was just Acid Bowl is just like you go, oh, that was awesome. Maybe you take like a clip of a round or something like that, and then that's that. And I mean, that's kind of all I have to say about it. I don't know if
Yeah,
you
the
have
only
anything to
other thing that I
add.
would say about Acid Bowl is the fact that I really did like the fact that when all was said and done, and everybody started, Paul started, shooting out his thanks for various people that helped, pull everything together. I really liked the fact that they then kind of stopped everybody and said, now let's thank Paul for everything that he does for the community. And it was really good to see the community recognizing Paul for everything that he does, some of which I wasn't even aware of.
Hmm.
Just just those accolades that he had received during the closure of Acid Bowl actually helped me appreciate, everything that Paul is even more than I already did. And I've already thought Paul was amazing.
That was awesome. I love that. The community is pretty good at, I think, pretty good at recognizing things like that, especially in person. So that was a very nice cap to an already good event. So thank you to Paul
Yeah.
and Emmy and anyone else who was involved in the judging and the production and everything to do with Acid Bowl, because it's definitely much like the rave. It's a staple of Blade Show for me, and I will try and make it as much as I can every year now.
Same.
Um, but moving on from that, Saturday.
Yep.
Now Saturday, it's a lot
Hmm.
of the same, so it's a lot of stuff that we already talked about. Same ballad song, same experience, and all of that. The big change
Yep.
on Saturday was Bally Comp. This is like Bally
Yes.
Comp is like top of the top. This is like Bally. If Blade Show is like the place where every Balisong flipper must go to experience, Bally Comp is like the one of two crowning achievements to someone who's really into flipping to go and enter and compete and hopefully take it all home. And I thought Bally
Yeah.
Comp this year particularly was really, really good. It was one of the first years we had a collection of judges that were actually intimately familiar with the hobby. It was Joff, it was Pyro, not Jack Pyro, but Pyro Flipper,
Pyro Flipper. Yep.
and it was who was the third? Oh shoot,
Dopey. Dopey.
Dopey. Yes,
Dopey
who's
likes
like an
chicken.
actual community member who actually is good at
Yep.
flipping and can recognize flipping. Because previously we've had like Blade HQ would get like some fixed blade maker to judge Bally Comp,
Yeah.
and it's always kind of been a sticking point with the community of like it's cool to have this guy, but what does he know about flipping? Um,
Right.
so I thought the judging was really good. There was a particular moment where Vav was going up in their round and they dropped. They dropped their ballot song, and usually when you drop, it's kind of like, okay, well that person lost, that sucks. But
Right.
recovered really well, and then the judges voted in their favor, which I totally agree with.
Hmm.
And it was at that moment where
Yep.
I was like, holy cow, the judges might actually like this might be our best judging year yet. Holy cow.
Yeah.
But you as your like give us your first this is your first Bally comp. What was your
It
perspective
was
on
it
that?
was my first Bally camp. I can say without question it was the best Bally camp I have ever gone to. It was really really awesome. I was uh, grateful or thankful enough to be able to snag a seat in the front row.
Yeah, you had an awesome
Literally,
seat.
yeah, literally right behind the judges, but far enough to the side that they weren't blocking my view at all. So I had literally the best seat in the house to see what everybody was doing, besides the judges themselves. And I was completely blown away. I mean, I can't think of any one particular thing other than when Bally Sox did the blade bump during their, I want to say, their maybe second set against Moyes. That was like I had never seen anything like that before, and can still vividly like visualize seeing that blade tip bump off because I had heard, I want to say that I had heard ahead of time that somebody was going to be trying to do something like that during Ballycomp, and I couldn't conceptually come up with how would that happen? Like, what is that going to look like? And I remember seeing it and thinking, that's how that's done, and that's really really cool that it was done. Um, but yeah, I was completely blown away. Again, it was very very similar to the Acid Bowl response for me. I was just sitting back, thoroughly enjoying the community's greatest flippers do their thing and go ham on a bally in front of uh, a giant crowd of people and just really own it. And it was amazing.
I love Bali Comp every
Yeah,
year. It's
absolutely
so
loved it.
fun. Guy, that's his name. I'm not just saying Guy. The guy that does the emceeing for the event, who does the announcing and everything,
Yeah.
always crushes it. I always love how he brings the energy for Bali Comp, and I
Yes.
think he also does
Very, very
WCFC.
energy.
Um, but yeah, like seeing people flip in person is just a different ball game to seeing a clip on Instagram or seeing like a YouTube video where they're flipping or a head mounted thing or whatever. It
Yep.
is spectacular, and there's some awesome things that
Yeah.
happen up there that some people at the back might not even be able to fully appreciate. So I am going to shout out Will Hirsch, the legend himself, recorded the whole thing. So for one of the first
Hmm.
times in a few years, Ballycomp will not be just subject to the void of never being uploaded, because I think that's happened the past 2 years. Blade HQ's just not done
Yep.
anything. So if you're looking for a full recap, everything that you need to see in Ballycomp, Will Hirsch channel, Ballycomp 2026 at Blade Show East, the front row experience. And you can get the front row experience for yourself if you want to hear a little bit more of what we're talking about here. If you want to see a little bit more of what we're talking about here, my bad. Um,
No, so long as you're not muted, you'll be able to hear it too.
yeah, that is true. That is true. Um, but yeah, I
But yeah, strongly recommend. I was there. I still watched Will's video, and it gave a better representation than the front row experience actually was. I can say, because I was in the front row, and yeah, Will's capturing of the event was amazing.
I think the
and,
best way to
and
experience it.
crazy energetic.
Yes. Wait, sorry. Say again.
Well, and crazy energetic,
Yes.
because what people watching it won't realize is just how much physically Will was running all over the place with his camera on a pole, just from the left side of the stage to the right side of the stage, up and down the rows of seating, just to get really well done dynamic shots.
Yeah.
Will really put a lot of energy into putting that together.
Yes. My hope is that we can expect, maybe not Will doing it, but that there will be recordings of the whole event going forward. Because I think the best way to experience Ballycomp is really to, go in person and just like enjoy the energy of it, crowd reactions and all of that aspect. And then you watch it again online to really break
Hmm.
down like what's that trick that person did, who do I think
Right.
actually like won this round, because then you can actually dial in on what they're doing. Unfortunately, Balisong's, as
Yep.
awesome as it is to watch in person, not a great spectator sport, because you're doing a lot of intricate movements with your fingers that don't really translate to 100 feet away in a
Right.
back row seat. I don't know.
Yep.
Maybe we could get like zoom in cameras on big TVs or something like that. But that's far more high tech than I think we're ever going to get in the Balisong community. So thank you to
Yeah.
Will for recording it, and go check that out if you're interested. Um,
Yep.
I
Absolutely.
don't have a ton to like specifically say about Ballycomp. It's impressive. Everyone who gets up there has my eternal respect, regardless of their skill, because I could not flip a live blade as well as they are up there. Um, yeah, I
Yeah.
couldn't do it. It just
No. No. Not at all. It's beyond my ability. And I can't tell you how many people have joked around with, oh, we'll have Unc up there winning Valley Comp. And no, Unc will never be on the Valley Comp stage, even if it's just for the free stuff that the competitors get. That's just it's too much for me. Absolutely.
dude. People ask me all the time, "Oh, you should go up on Ballycomp." I because I actually had to get up on the stage before the event started and flip so that Will could kind of dial in the autofocus settings for his camera. Just doing that
Yeah.
one of the most nerve-wracking balisong flipping experience I've ever had in my life. Someone shouted up and said, "Do a double scissor," and I couldn't even do a single scissor. I was just like, if I was flipping a live blade, every finger would have been gone. So I couldn't even imagine getting up there, flipping a live blade, having to do the greatest combo that I am capable of doing in order to compete
Right.
with another person who's also standing up there. Eternal respect.
Nope.
I bow down to anyone who does that. Again, regardless of if
Agreed.
all you're doing is like a behind the eight ball. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
Yep. Yep. Agreed. 100%. And again, I mean, this is coming from somebody now who's been in the hobby for 11 months, but I guarantee even 2, 3, 4 years from now, nope, I didn't join the hobby to competitively flip on stage in front of people. I don't ever see it happening because just the amount of energy that was in the room, I don't know that I could perform in front of it.
Yeah, you and me both. Anything else you want to
Yep.
add before we move on from Bally Comp?
No, I think other than the fact that the winner this year was Bryson, which was the first
Oh
time
yeah,
someone has ever
dude.
won 2 consecutive years back to back.
Which is super cool.
So
Congrats, Bryson.
big props to Bryson to that. That was absolutely amazing. And I'm glad that being a first year viewer, I was able to be part of that experience. It was really really neat.
I was also incredibly happy to see Vav up in the top three. Congrats, Vav. Hats off
Hmm.
to you.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
it was Bryson with first place. Second place was Moyes, I believe
Moise.
was the
Yep.
tag. Then it was Vaver, and then Scram, I believe, was fourth.
Yep. You got
Yeah,
it.
and their big crowning win, their crowning achievement was being handed a Benchmade Necron, among many other things. The prize pool for Valley Comp has actually gotten really crazy from what it used to be. But one of them was a
Yeah.
Benchmade Necron, so I hope you all enjoy that
Nice. Everybody
thing.
loves the Necron.
Everyone does. There's no issues with it
Yeah.
whatsoever.
No, it's like I mean, cost to value is I mean
It's
100%.
just wonderful. Did you
It's the
flip a
gold
Necron?
standard. I don't know why everybody's talking about the Kraken being the gold standard because it's clearly the Necron.
Did you flip a Necron at Blade Show?
I have I don't know if it was an authentic Necron or if it was a clone. Actually, I flipped two. One of which I know was a clone because it was a Necron on bushings, and
Actually, I think they do exist. I think
oh
there's like
really?
one of one like prized $1,000 Necrons that actually do have bushings. I don't know that for sure though, but I think it does exist.
Gotcha. Well, I know the one I flipped wasn't that one. It was
Okay.
it was very very evidently a clone, but was on bushings. Still, I mean, it's a lot of people really like the Necron. Totally understand that. There are people that do, but it's definitely not for me.
I looked up the price. Just I can't believe I forget
Oh,
how
for the
much this
bushing
thing
one?
costs. No, just the normal one. Because I wanted
Okay.
to ask, you flipped one. Would you pay 550 for it? I forgot it was
Nope.
550, dude. Oh my
Mm-mm.
gosh.
Nope. Not for me.
I feel bad continuing to rag on the Necron 2 years later, but actually, I guess it's only been a year. You asked for it when you made that 550. Holy cow. Yeah, they have like the jungle wear green and the lava flow red. It's like marbled G10 and then I think a Damascus steel blade. I think this one has bushings, although I can't for the life of me find a spec page. Mechanism, Bally dash song. You've done it again, Blade HQ. Thank you for that. Anyway, $1,300. Maybe it has
Oh
bushings,
my
maybe it
gosh.
doesn't. Side
I'll
tangent on the
stick with a
Necron
cheese
aside.
with bushings that costs much less than that.
Or a freaking full steel Astra for $22.
Yep, same. Yeah.
Oh
Oh my
man.
gosh.
Okay. Side
Yeah.
tangent aside. Any final thoughts on Blade H or Bally Comp?
No, no, I think that covers everything that I can think of Bally comp wise. Yeah.
Cool. So then Saturday was actually the latest that I stayed at the pit. I think I was there until like 12 or 1 because Will had to go back to his apartment. There was something that there was like another unrelated event that he wanted to attend. So he told me, Dasuko, and Dasuko's partner, who were all staying with him, you guys do whatever you want, find a way back to the apartment whenever. So we stayed at the
Hmm.
pit for like an incredibly long time. I had the absolute pleasure of having an extremely long conversation with Cream Soda, Nick Snacks, Maddie. There were a few other people who I'm just like are blending into my brain because it was late. I was very tired, staying up
Yeah.
till 1 a.m. with a bunch of people after spending all day in the Blade Show, the longest day of Blade Show, because then on Saturday the doors actually open at 10. There's no early bird. Um,
Right.
there's a lot of fried thoughts. There were people playing like poker. That was fun at the
Hmm.
pit on Saturday. You were you at the pit on Saturday? I remember seeing you briefly beforehand, I think.
Yeah, so I was there beforehand. I was there, so I did my Saturday morning stream, or Saturday at noon stream. I actually did from the pit over on the side, so I wasn't, in anybody's way. And that was right before Bally Comp. Then after Bally Comp, I stayed at the pit for a little bit, and then me and a group of people went out to Blaze Pizza
Oh,
and had some food, and we made it back to the pit. But when we made it back to the pit, that was about the time. I think that was about the time that was it Saturday that they were kicking people out of the pit temporarily
yes.
for
Yep.
the okay, so right around then or maybe shortly after, that's when people started showing up where Ballycomp had been for Blade Show's award ceremony, where they were kind of shooing the Balisong people away from the pit, and me not knowing where the Balisong people were going to be shooed away to,
Oh,
I
that's
took the
right. Oh my
opportunity
gosh, I
to.
totally forgot about this. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. I took the opportunity to head back to the hotel and actually take a overstimulus break, and just kind of hang out at the hotel a little bit, and rest my weary legs.
And I remember now when we returned because we also left, I think, to get dinner or something. Dude, it all just blends into one day. We returned
Hmm.
and found you sitting on the curb outside
Yeah,
because you didn't
and
know
we
where to
came.
go.
We Yeah, and so I followed you. You showed me where
The old pit.
the old pit was, and confirmed, nope, this isn't where people are because this is now totally different. And then that's when we went upstairs, and I think you guys figured out where everybody was going to kind of shuffle over to, and that's where I had headed back to the apartment for a
Yes.
little break.
Yep.
Yep.
Totally forgot about that. And no offense to you. That is just how the
Oh,
memory of Blade Show goes, dude. Um,
totally get it.
but yeah,
I
had some.
honestly I couldn't remember how you and I got back together before I went to the hotel until you had mentioned you were coming back from dinner, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember following your entourage back
Yeah,
inside.
we showed you the
Yep.
old pit, which I can't believe the whole community used to fit in there, and then
So
the new
tiny,
pit.
so tiny.
Um, I know people were like upset about the whole affair of getting kicked out, but like people were. I've always had kind of the thought of people respect us when we have Bally Comp set up, so we should probably respect when they have other events up there planned. So probably
Yeah.
best to just find somewhere else to sit. We ended up sitting just like around the corner so that we weren't bothering them directly, but we were still kind of close by. And we had like a small
Hmm.
group of us. It was like Benjamin was next to me, Cream Soda, Sam on the job flips and his partner. I'm not gonna remember everyone. Nick Snacks, Maddie, and then there were like a few other groups that were spread around. But it was one of my like favorite nights of Blade Show. Just sitting in the pit because
Yeah.
it's the first time, like I said before, it's the latest I've ever stayed there, and I probably will
Nice.
make an effort to stay there late next year. We'll see.
Nice. Yeah, I honestly I can't remember if on Saturday after I had left to go back to the apartment, I can't remember if I had made my way back to the pit that evening or not. I honestly don't think that I did. Um, but I'm not 100%
I don't
sure because
think,
again, just there was so much that was going on.
yeah,
I don't know for sure.
I don't think we saw each other at the very least. There were so many people to talk to. I talked to,
Yeah,
I'm not even going to attempt to list out everyone. But eventually,
right.
Sam on the job flips was very, very kind enough to let us crash his. No, I was gonna say crash his car, as in like how you would crash someone's place, crash on their couch.
Yeah,
But that just means something completely different in the context of a motor vehicle. So I'm gonna strike that one from the record. Um, he was very kind enough to bring us back to Will's apartment because I guess he was staying
nice.
nearby. So that was cool. And then instantly fall asleep. Try and do my absolute best to mentally will myself to get up and shower and then go to bed.
Yeah,
There's actually one day where I didn't do that. I laid down and I was out. Woke up at like 5 a.m.
yeah.
to shower before we had so that I could go back to sleep and get a little bit more sleep before we went to the show. Um,
Yeah,
but
the
yeah,
funny thing is, each day at Blade Show, I did end up taking a midday break to go back to the hotel to just decompress for a little bit. And every single time I did that, I laid down on the bed because I had all of my ballets with me in my case, in my sling bag. One of the big takeaways for me this year was don't have all of your ballets in a single case in a sling bag where all of the weight is on a single shoulder because that will kill your body,
yeah.
which it did. Every time I made it my way back to the hotel midday just to decompress, I laid down on the bed, didn't get covered up or anything, specifically just to stretch out and let my back kind of decompress from all of the weight. And without fail, woke up 2.5 hours later.
I
Every single
promise
time I laid
you,
down.
I promise you, if you've never been to Blade Show before, you have never and will never sleep as good again. It's insane. I
I
I
can attest to that.
it is another level of like crash. I
Hmm.
usually fall asleep fairly quickly. I've never really thankfully had a problem with like falling or staying asleep. It is instantaneous. If I lay down, I'm one of the fools who thinks, "Oh, I'll lay down for like 5 minutes just to decompress before I get up and go do something else." Wake up 2.5 hours later. And at Blade Show it's even worse. So I'm honestly surprised you even woke up at all after that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would have been out for the rest of the day. But
Yeah, thankfully not. Thankfully, because I would have hated myself had I slept away half of a day of Blade Show.
yeah.
Because again, like on Friday, I was going hour by hour trying to avoid leaving because I knew that was an experience, that was an opportunity with the community that I wasn't going to ever be able to get again. I would say I wouldn't be able to have for another year, but that particular opportunity would be gone.
Right.
That would be next year's opportunity I would get. So yeah, I would have been brokenhearted had I missed half of a Blade Show day because I fell asleep too long. Yeah,
That's a good way to go about it. But I think
yeah.
that wraps up Saturday, unless you have anything else to add. Sunday.
No, I think that's Saturday.
Sunday is the shortest day of the show. The show closes at 2 p.m. on Sunday, but
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't mean it's the end of the festivities. So actually, Sunday,
Nope.
I didn't even really do that much on Sunday. I feel really bad because I specifically told Cream Soda and Nick Snacks, oh, at the pit on Saturday night, I was like, oh, we'll definitely see each other on Sunday. I don't think I really talked to anyone on Sunday. I spent Sunday
Mm,
kind of just going around because I try to make an effort to go around the show at some point just to see what else is everything else is offered at the show.
yeah.
Um, so I did that on Sunday, walked around with Sam and his girlfriend, who she was trying to collect every sticker that she could. And I cannot even fathom the amount of stickers that she walked out with after just like 2 hours. It was crazy because usually every booth will
Yeah.
have like, not every, but a lot of booths will have like a free sticker of their logo or something that you can take.
Right.
The bag of these stickers had to have been 2 or 3 pounds heavier of stickers. Like it
Wow.
was crazy.
Wow.
So I walked around the show, but other than that, I mean, there's not really anything that I have to recap. I don't know about you.
As far as Sunday is concerned, I don't think so. I think like I had done on Saturday. I think I beelined it to the baller room, did a pass there, went back to the pit, did a pass there, went back to the baller room, realized that in that time everybody moved back over to the pit. So then I made my way back to the pit again, and it was very much just kind of a hangout at that point. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I did talk to the Rivery manufacturing guys. If you've watched the podcast at any point, Brandon and I love these things. Which the one of the guys that I talked to, one of the salesmen or like machinists there, I'm totally spacing on what he told me his position there was, but is an actual balisong flipper. Recognized me
Really?
without I didn't have like a sign or a name tag or anything. He just looked at me as I was looking at the booth and he goes, "Are you camaroEE?" Knowing me as camaroEE is already kind of a deep cut because most people will be like blade
Right.
bias,
Blade bias. Right.
but he was like an actual balisong flipper. He got into it. He
Nice.
got into the company after because these things were big hits in the balisong community last year. So I think that
Mm-hmm.
they are aware of who we were. So he started working there after last year. Um,
Gotcha.
I don't know if it was
That's cool.
because of I don't know if I don't think he became aware of this company because of Balisong and then went to work for them. To be clear, that is not what I'm saying with that, but that was pretty cool. So
Yeah.
he had bought a
Neat.
Totori as well. He was showing everyone his Totori. I was like, yes, we've got a knife. We've got a
Excellent.
Balisong person infiltrating like a knife company. Although these things are so fidgetable, they're kind of
Yeah.
closer to Balisongs anyway.
Well, and there was I think it was Sunday too. So one of the things that I did do on Sunday with Grim and Dasuko and Liz, we were going through the main floor,
Oh, I
or the
wish I
main
went with you on
yeah,
that.
the main
Dang.
floor. Yeah, we were trying to find the engraving booth because while Dasuko and I, so we had done on Saturday, literally as Bali Comp was starting, Dasuko ran over to me where I was sitting, and we did a handle swap on our Bali, on our cheese. And one of the things that we wanted to do was then go to the laser engraver to get it engraved with something, handle swap 2026, something along those lines. And sadly, we weren't able to do so because they didn't have the necessary ventilation to do laser engraving on Teflon because it creates a noxious fume that nobody wants to breathe. But Grim wanted to get her Glide Kraken engraved, so we still went and found it. And then we were just walking around, taking a look at what everybody had, trying to find the free carabiner booth. Well, when we found the free carabiner booth, they were all out of them. But one thing that they did have, which was really neat, was a Balisong bit driver. It wasn't really good. It didn't really flip. But the concept was there, and that was really neat and grabbed our attention. And we were talking to the guy about it, and the guy had mentioned, that he had seen, he has seen a bunch of flippers throughout the convention, voiced some interest in it. I had some 3D printed plastic balisongs in my bag that I had brought with me extra, in the event that there, were, some kids or some new people in the hobby that that weren't able to afford, a ballet, but were interested in it. And so I was able to give him, one of my 3D printed ballets, which he was flipping around with, and then I left with him. So yeah, I also helped in infiltrating the non-ballet people and acclimating them to the ballet song world.
That's awesome. And I'm actually glad you said that, because there was a point where you guys met up with me and said, "Hey, we're going to go walk around the main area." And I said,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'll catch up with you." Because I was busy making an awful, terrible financial purchase at the Machine Wise, or financial decision at the Machine Wise booth. Because I so hastily jumped into buying an Aeon, which I had no expectations of doing it, I found my disappointment on Sunday that I had not purchased a Totori, which was another ballad song that I had on my list of things I wanted to buy, a bit too
Hmm.
strong to ignore. So
Yeah.
I spent that time buying this, my Storm
Nice.
Blue Totori, which, again, by the
That is
time this has come
beautiful.
out, you guys have seen a full video on, at least I hope. If not, well, then that didn't go how I wanted it to.
Surprise.
But yeah, I wish I went with you guys, because after I bought this, I threw it in my pocket and I walked the
Yep.
main room back and forth for like 20 minutes. And I was like,
Yeah.
Unc's wearing a pink hat. This room is full of knife guys. There's no one else wearing a pink hat here, right?
Nope.
I could not
Nope. I
find you
was
guys
self-branded. You couldn't
anywhere.
miss me.
Couldn't find you
And
anywhere.
there are so many places we could have been. Dasuko could have been owning it at playing what was it? Galaga or what is that?
Oh, in like the Galaga in the arcade area?
Galaga, yeah, yep. Or we could have been at the engraving state. I mean, we were all over the place. I was hunting down any ballets that I could find, and they were just looking at, I mean, all types of stuff. We found some pretty crazy uh, 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 open assisted flippers, and I mean, just all types of stuff, crazy stuff.
Super cool.
Um, so yeah, we were all over the place. You would have been hard pressed to find us, I'm sure, especially after only 20 minutes because of the sheer size of the main floor and
Yeah.
how many booths there were.
And well, we have to get that across. The main room is so big, dude. There's so much
So
going
big.
on. I was
It was
looking.
ridiculous. Honestly, there was one day I went in there because I knew somewhere, like in the hallways, they had like as far as food eateries are concerned. I know that there was like a taco bar, I think, somewhere, and then there were a couple um, chicken places. What's the I
Chick-fil-A?
can't remember the chicken Chick-fil-A. But I knew somewhere I had seen somebody walking around with a Papa John's pizza box, and I am a pizza guy. I literally spent, I'm gonna say, somewhere between 45 minutes to an hour in the main floor, walking around trying to find where the Papa John's pizza was.
I think it was
I finally
outside.
found it. No, it wasn't. It was
Oh.
in the very, very, very back, to the left, not where it said concessions on the wall.
Oh, okay.
And it wasn't like built into the wall. It was just like a little pop-up stand,
I didn't even see that.
very nondiscreet, and I probably had walked past it, 2 or 3 times, but literally took me 45 minutes to an hour to find pizza.
Yeah, I was looking around for, I mean, this is like a sea of knife guys. They're all wearing like the same kind
Hmm.
of stuff. You get kind of the same vibe from all these guys. I'm looking for a guy in a pink hat. I'm looking for Dasuko who has like this bright, like dyed hair. I was like, oh, it's going to be so easy. They're going to stick out
Hmm.
so much. Not at all. I,
Because we know Dasuko and myself, we're very tall people.
that's true.
You
Yeah.
too. You can see over the crowd
Yep.
very
I can
obviously.
see
As a
everyone.
matter of fact, I'm pretty sure going back to day one where you and I met up at the Machine Wise booth, I want to say that the first thing that you had said to me was, "You're not nearly as tall as I thought
Dude,
you were."
I hit you with what everyone hits me with, because everyone says that to me, including like
Yep.
lifelong online friends that I've met in person. Every time it's
Yep.
you're so much shorter than I thought you'd be. And then I did that to you because we are like the
Yep.
same height and I was not expecting that. I thought you would be a good, you know, half a foot to foot taller than me. But
Nope. Nope.
it was kind of nice.
So yeah,
I can't lie.
yeah.
Being
Between your height restrictions and my height restrictions, and the general crowd of that room, there was no chance we could have been within 3 feet of each other, and you would not have found us.
yeah. Well, does that wrap it up for the show? Because after the show,
Um. Yeah. Yeah. I think it does.
you and I, and I'm so happy this happened. You somehow,
Same.
I don't fully remember how this even happened. Oh, I do
Oh, I
remember
do.
how this happened. You
All
ended
right.
up at lunch with us. We went
Mm-hmm.
to, where did we go? Wait,
Whataburger.
what a
Whataburger. It
thank
was
you.
my first
I thought it was
Whataburger
like I
experience.
thought it was like a chicken place. I was gonna say like some Dave's Hot Chicken or something like that.
Nope, we went to Whataburger.
Whataburger. You ended up at Whataburger with us because I had invited you. Typically, we would go to the mall, the food court, and it's like an easy walk from the convention center. And I was like,
Yep.
oh, yeah, we're going to go get lunch. You can probably come with us. I just have to ask Will, thinking that that was the case. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. We were planning on driving somewhere, and Will's car was packed to the gills, so we couldn't add someone
Hmm.
else. So you Ubered there, didn't you?
No,
Oh, no,
no,
you
because
walked there.
so I was going to Uber there. So first we talked to Will, and Will was like, "Yeah, no, that's totally fine, but we're jam packed. You would have to make your way there," and that didn't seem initially feasible. And then I thought about it for a minute and went back and was like, "Yeah, no, I
I
think
could tell you were
I think I
thinking.
can join you guys for lunch."
I kept
Yeah,
looking
I was
over at
very,
you, and
very
it
much.
was like I can see gears turning in his head. He
Yeah.
wants to make this
How
work.
can I make this
Yeah,
happen?
yeah.
First Blade Show experience. How can I go to Will with Ethan and with Will and with Dasuko and Liz and Prism? And so I went back over. And I was like, hey, if I get my own ride over there, I think we can make this work. And Will then basically said, yeah, you can go ahead and join us, and said, we're driving there, but Whataburger is literally like less than half a mile away. So if you start walking, you'll be there about the same time as us. So I didn't even
Dude,
wait
you
to say
power
goodbye. I
walked
turned
there.
around and oh man,
We were
it was quick.
driving, and the whole time I was thinking, "Oh my gosh, poor Unc is gonna show here after we're all gonna be done eating, and he's gonna show up." But we get there,
I
and
was
you're
waiting there
you're
for a
just sitting in
solid
line, like
5 minutes.
looking at the menu. I was like, how the hell did you get here?"
Yeah. Yep. I was there a solid 5 minutes before you guys made it.
And that was
Yeah.
such a great experience. I was so happy too because I wanted at some point to take you to the subway that used to exist there. I did it
Yeah.
last year with a few other content creator friends, Benjamin, and I think it was Rob Heath. We went to all together. If not together, then separately. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it with Unc this year. And then I get there, and the mall with the subway was like a pile of rubble. So that was fun.
Right.
But I'm really glad we got to do that. And you being in that lunch group also meant that we kind of absorbed you into the group that set up the rave. So not
Yes.
only did Unc spend the whole weekend completely overwhelmed at Blade Show, not completely, but
Yep.
like going crazy.
As I mean, we might as well say completely. I was very, very overwhelmed.
He also was an absolute trooper in helping us just lift a bunch of shit to help set up hi-fi buys for the bite handle rave. So just
Yep.
a little bit of a round of applause for Unc for us in the comment section because dude was an absolute trooper on Sunday and incredibly
Oh,
helpful.
it was amazing. It was an experience that, given the opportunity to do again, I would definitely do again. It was absolutely wonderful.
I love setting stuff up like that. I like feeling useful and setting up an experience for other people. So that was fun. It was nice. In a weird, like, it was nice to work with you. I don't know if that even means anything given the context there because we weren't working together, but we also kind of were. I don't know, man.
They don't get it. I get it. We're
Yeah,
good. We're good.
this is just an us thing. We're on the same level. You guys,
Yep,
it's
definitely.
okay. Um, but the final stop of Blade Show. I mean, full disclosure, I told Unc this was going to be like an hour, maybe an hour and a half recording. I am so sorry for taking up 2 hours and 15 minutes of your time. Another round of applause to him because he hasn't complained at all.
I'm
And I'm kind of just
no,
waiting for
not
him to
at
be
all.
like, I need to leave.
I have nowhere to go. I have nothing to do. My evening is yours.
Okay.
I have been looking at the clock as well, thinking I was worried that I was going to be like out of things to talk about 50 minutes in, or that I was going to get overwhelmed by the conversation and the amount of dialogue that I had to come up with 50 minutes in. And I see that we're 2 hours and 12 minutes in, and I'm
Dude.
actually excited that if we had another, 45 minutes to go, I could probably fill it, because we're, so everyone is aware, this is Ethan and I just talking. I mean, we're talking to
Yeah,
you, but this is Ethan and I just talking. This is
we had
great.
like bullet points of a script like on a like that we were okay if conversation slows down we'll resort to this. I haven't even looked over there,
There is
dude.
so much we haven't gotten to.
We could talk for another 4 hours about Blade Show easily. Again, if you need
Right.
any other
Oh,
reason
absolutely.
to go, there's just so much. So all of that to
Yes.
say, maybe if we have time, we'll get into your experience after Blade Show, like on that Monday when I had already left. Um,
Hmm.
but Bite Handle.
Bite handle.
Bite Handle this year was amazing. I always love Bite Handle. It's honestly the best way to end a Blade Show weekend. It was a little bit lower key than usual, less people, less, I say less energy, but there was still like an amazing amount of energy at the rave itself. So, I mean, I want to get your thoughts as not only a
Yeah.
first time Bite Handle attendee, but also quite possibly one of the oldest people there. No offense.
No, I was gonna help you with it if I saw you struggling any longer, because I knew where you were going with that.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. So for me, I honestly, I felt bad a lot during the Bite Handle rave, because I knew that I was posted up in a seat, flipping a ballad song, enjoying myself. I was having the time of my life. But from an outsider's perspective, I'm sure that it looked like I wasn't. I'm sure that it looked like I felt uncomfortable, because I'm not a dancer. I was not on the floor, dancing to the music. So everyone is aware. We had three people DJing, cycling through. We had Prism, we had Will, and we had Dasuko. And I was thoroughly enjoying everything that those three were putting out, but I was doing so very, very passively, because I thoroughly, thoroughly, thoroughly enjoy and love music. So I was sitting there like a bump on a log, flipping my ballad song, just enjoying the
I
vibe,
think you were a
watching
trooper.
everybody dance. It, I mean, so when you say trooper, I hear somebody who is trudging through to make it to the end, who is surviving. And for
Nah.
me, I wasn't surviving. I was having the time of my life. It, again, from an outsider's perspective, it probably didn't look it, but I adore music. I adore flipping. I adore the people in the ballad song community, and this was the perfect trifecta for me.
No, that's awesome.
And a lot of people throughout the entire thing would come up to me, and you came up to me, Will came up to me, Maddie came up to me, Grim came up to me, sat down next to me. We were talking about various things. I was telling you a story that you then said, "Oh yeah, well I wasn't alive then, but I know my parents had said," and I was like, "Oh yeah, that was a check right there."
Whoops.
But I mean, even there, people were checking on me, not because they were afraid that I wasn't enjoying myself, but just because they had the opportunity to. and it was great. I was able to kind of let everybody know, despite the fact that I'm not moving around and dancing with everybody. I was thoroughly enjoying myself. It was absolutely great. And then anytime I stepped outside for some fresh air, you had people outside of the doors playing blackjack in a circle, smoking cigars, just an entire vibe in and of itself. Then inside you had the bite handle rave, and then off to the corner you had the carpeted area that was more well lit, where you had people flipping live blades and interacting with each other there. I mean, there were different stations where I had my freedom to roam between the different uh, uh, environments.
Yeah.
I guess I would say.
No, because I think
Yeah, it
it's
was.
super
I
cool.
loved it.
I love that you stayed like in the dance floor area because a lot of people when they're just sitting and like enjoying the music are back in like the carpeted area or they'll go outside.
Yeah.
It was cool to see you even if you weren't actively dancing like some people were just like
hmm
sitting there and enjoying it.
Yeah.
That was
Well,
that was
I mean, part
cool.
of it was I wanted to make sure that that Prism, that Will, and that Dasuko, knew that I was there. I was I was there partially, because I love music, partially because that's where everybody was at. But anytime I'm there for somebody who is performing, I am there to make sure that they know that they're being seen, that they're appreciated. So for me, I would have felt, honestly, I would, every time I stepped outside or every time I stepped over to the carpeted area, I kind of felt bad because I felt like I was leaving them. And, they were part of the experience because one of the things that's really easy to overlook when you're in that type of music environment is just how much like actual work and effort and attention the whoever is DJing is actually putting into the entire musical experience. And that was one of the things that I was able to get out of that. I was able to observe them doing the DJing work and got to see just how much like energy they were putting into what they were doing. It was really cool because I hadn't been able to experience it from that close up before. It was great. I loved it.
And I want to use that as an advertisement for anyone who's like, I don't want to go to the bite handle rave because I'm not going to be up and dancing and I'm not that kind of person. I'm typically not either. Honestly, everything that the bite handle rave is supposed to be, I hate. I hate darkness. I hate flashing lights. I hate crowds. And I hate really loud music. And I love the bite handle rave.
Yeah.
It's just such an awesome atmosphere because if you want it to be like a full-on rave where you're like dancing around with other people, there's that option. You can go sit in the corner,
Yeah.
there's that option. You can sit outside, there's that option. I think there's just so many different ways to enjoy it that
Oh,
it's just
absolutely.
awesome. And the best part is that they don't turn the speakers up to be ear numbingly loud like any other concert that you can go to, so you can
Right.
actually enjoy it without earplugs. It's nice.
Right. Right. I mean, how far would you say I was from where Will and Dasuko and Prism were DJing?
Oh,
Maybe 15 feet,
10,
if that.
15 feet easily. Yeah.
Right. And I mean, you never had to yell to interact with me. I never had to say what. I mean,
I
when it was
love.
time for us to sit down and talk, we were just talking.
Yeah.
And like two people sitting next to each other with music playing in the background. I mean, it
I
was
love
it
that
was
because I
the whole
hate
thing was
just
a vibe. It was just great.
I hate head vibratingly loud music. It drives me crazy
Yeah.
because I always my this is kind of a tangent, but whenever I wear headphones and then I give them to someone else, they're like, "What? Why is it so
hmm
quiet?" So I kind of value my hearing,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I just typically don't listen to things as loud as other people. So the fact that I can exist there without earplugs is a very nice thing. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I
and
think
and being the oldest person there, I can also say from a elderly perspective, yeah, I didn't have to tell anybody to turn
elderly.
the music down.
That's that's good. Um, yeah, Bite Handle is so awesome. To just get it out of the way now, huge
hmm
thank you to Will, Dasuko, all the people that make it possible. Prism did an excellent job DJing this year. and a
Also,
massive.
big thanks to Chris.
I was just gonna
Oh,
say,
I'm sorry.
yep,
Were you going there? I'm sorry.
massive thank you
Sorry.
to Chris at Hi-Fi Buys, who
Yeah.
allows. I mean, Will works there now, but allows random people to come in and allows his employee to just throw like a party. Unheard of boss. Like he's so cool
Yep.
for letting us
Yeah.
use the venue and letting us do it in the first place. All while he sits in the office probably having a good time. Like playing he was playing
Yeah.
video games in there and listening to the music. Honestly, I kind of want his job. Um
Well, and the fact that, I mean, he is providing us with the venue to have this event, but at the end of the night, because not only did we help set up, we also helped break down, and at the end of the night, he was just so forthcoming with gratitude for everything that we had done, and it's like, we're just putting it back the way that it was
yeah,
before we got here. Thank you for letting us screw it all up in the first place. The guy was just, I mean, on another level of character. He was just absolutely amazing.
I highly recommend not only that you go to Bite Handle, but that you go to Hi-Fi Buys when they are normal functioning business, because that store is incredible. It's where I bought these headphones. They let you just listen to shit and there's no pressure to buy anything. You're not getting hounded by salesmen, and there's so much cool stuff to check out. Definitely check it
Yep.
out. I love that store. I wish if I lived around there, it would be dangerous because I would be in there as much as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely going to need to, for future years, at least one of the future years, figure out how to plan my trip down to Atlanta for Blade Show, with enough time to allow me to go in there during business
I
hours,
highly recommend it.
and just check out the place, because I mean, for no other reason than just to support Hi-Fi Buys in whatever way that I can, just because of what they allow us as a community to do there.
Yeah. Um, they did the giveaways,
hmm Including a spider knife, which
including
I got to flip.
another surprise spider knife,
Yes,
which is
I
kind
did
of
get to
tradition
flip
at
it.
this
It
point.
it was still awesome.
I was kind of hoping
It.
that you would win it, just for the fact that
I
you
was kind
seem
of
to be
hoping
like
that I was going to win it too,
you're like
because
the
I
only
love it.
fan. You're the only fan of spider knife I've ever met.
I can appreciate a slender handle, and I can appreciate textured grip, especially
Textured,
now that I can choker fan. I mean, I tried to choker fan on the thing, and it was as dreamy as I expected.
dreamy, dreamy. We're calling the spider knife texture and dreamy. Those shouldn't even be in
I
the same
love
sentence.
I love the spider knife.
That's
As a matter of fact, I have done thorough research on seeing if I could find a more full-sized version of this, and I can't. It doesn't exist. I
dude.
think it would be the perfect balance.
Dude, the perfect ballad. This is Unc's hottest take, I
I
think.
took it too far. No, I took it too far. That's an over exaggeration. But
If you feel that
I
way,
do
I'm
love the
more
spider knife.
impressed at that point. Like the
No,
spider knife, the perfect ballad song.
not the perfect ballad song. However, I can very, very much appreciate everything that the spider knife is.
As Spider Knife's #1 fan here, you're like the
Yes.
dude who was running around Blade Show, who's like
The UFO.
the #1 UFO fan. Because there was someone just like constantly saying, "Have you tried the UFO? I love the UFO. Got to be the
Yeah,
only
Ethan,
UFO
you need to do
fan out
another
there."
video on you do a retake on the UFO. What do you think now? Yeah,
He'll be in the
yep.
comments.
I am that for the spider knife.
You're
I'm
you're the
definitely
Spider
that for the
Knife's
spider
#1
knife.
fan. Wow.
Yes, probably only fan, but definitely the number
You
one fan.
man, you should have won that. I wish you did.
Well, I actually am really happy with the person who did win it. Was one of the guys working security,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
this year
yeah.
we had security, and he actually wasn't a flipper. So, I mean, for better or worse, their first ballad song was the spider knife, but then was able to also get
The Canyon, I
a
think.
canyon.
Yeah, yeah.
So they then actually got I'll call it, even though I no disrespect to the spider knife, a real ballad song. And that was really cool. I really liked the fact that, at the end of the day, one more person got pulled into the hobby, just because they happened to, know the people who were running it, and were, a good person to run security, and they had interest in immediately, like as soon as they won a Bally. We were talking to them about, what YouTube channels they can go to for tutorials and stuff like that, and they were really excited and into it. And I think those types of winners are the ones that most excite me, or
I
the
agree.
people that, get brought into something new and are thoroughly excited about doing it.
Yeah, and Sam actually was one
Yeah.
of our other security guards. So thank you to both of the security
Hmm.
guards as well. That was
Yes.
it's weird that we needed it, but I'm glad they were there.
Yep. Agreed.
But any other bite handle thoughts? The only other thing that I can say is that I
Um.
tried one of the flavored ginger ales that they had there, and it is one of the greatest things I've ever had out of a can for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know
Did you
why.
have the cherry or the
I think
strawberry?
it was the strawberry, and it was just
Oh,
divine for
I
some
did not
reason.
try the strawberry. I had the cherry and I liked it, but it was not my first cherry ginger ale. So it wasn't a new experience for me, but it was tasty. I liked
It
it.
was new for me, and I loved it. I don't know why I did, but I did.
Gotcha.
You got any other any? I think the way that it ended, usually it ends in a super sick way where they bring some like popular or well known song. Previously, it's been the Dasuko Telestro collab that they did.
Hmm.
This year, it was a mashup of Porter Robinson's "Everything Goes On" and what was the other song? It was like Black Parade, I think it was one of the Black Parade
Yes,
songs.
yes, it was. It was Black Parade.
That was so hype. I loved that.
Yeah.
I loved every part of that.
The
Um,
funny thing is, like, as soon as you started talking about it, I was going to be like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to help you on this because I'm not going to be able to remember what the last song was. As soon as you said Black Parade, I was like, oh no, that was a moment. That
yeah,
that
it
was an
was
experience. I like everybody was locked in for that.
the last song is usually a moment at Bite Handle, and this year might have been one of the best moments because there were
Yeah,
words to sing instead of just
right.
like an EDM song, which was still very hype in the past, but it was a special moment. And then we all got tacos
Yeah.
afterwards, and it was just the best. We all walked like
Best best
four
tacos
blocks.
I have ever had in my entire
So
life.
good.
Without
So
question.
good.
Like not even comparable to anything else that I've ever had.
Just so good. Velvet Taco, the place was
Yeah.
called, a few blocks
Mm-hmm.
away from High Five
Yep.
Eyes. Definitely check them out if you're in the area. Um,
Yeah.
and that,
I had a bacon smash burger taco,
oh,
and that was the best taco I've ever had in my life. And then also a chicken and waffle taco where the taco shell was the waffle cone, just a
ooh,
soft waffle cone. I didn't know if I was going to like it or not because it also had like apple slaw on it, and I don't like slaws. But it was really, really good.
sounds
I wish I would
awesome.
have eaten that before the smash burger one though, because the smash burger took the cake. It
I need to
was
try it. I
oh, it was
can't
so
give
good.
up I get it's I for carne asada. No, that doesn't sound right. What's the pork and pineapple? There's a name for it. Birria.
Okay,
Um, the birria taco, and then I got a steak taco, whatever it was there. I want to try the other tacos, but I can't give those two up. They're just too good every time.
now I understand. I have already decided for future years I'm just simply going to order 5 smash burger tacos and that's it.
I might have
And
to
the guacamole. The guacamole was really, really good too.
I might have to get an extra taco next year and have it be the smash burger one if you recommend it that
Uh,
highly.
it like there is nothing taco related that I have to compare to the first bite of it. I immediately knew this was a mistake to have this one first. I should have had the chicken and waffle one first because this is how I want to end the evening. Yeah, absolutely amazing.
And
But
that's
not just
how.
the, I mean, not just the tacos. The walk over there was great.
Oh,
The
it was
walk back
awesome.
was great.
I loved it.
I mean, just yeah,
I'm so happy we
the
didn't drive.
whole, yes, yeah. I mean, the whole experience. From Blade Show ending to the end of Bite Handle Rave, and the end of the post dinner. Yeah, it was like I have felt bad for you having to deal with me for essentially 12 hours straight between lunch, setup, bite handle rave, dinner, and then making our way back there. But on the same accord, it was an absolutely amazing 12
Dude,
hours.
I wish we could have spent all
Because the
72
whole
together like
experience was
that.
so great.
That
Right?
was excellent.
It was great. It was awesome. Yeah,
And then
absolutely.
my final purchase came actually at Bite Handle. Nick
Okay.
Snacks, who I spent a lot of time. If you saw me at Blade Show, you know I had the Aeon. Most of you probably didn't see the tutorial, and none of you saw this because Nick Snacks, who I spent a long time talking to at the pit, like I mentioned before, specifically drove to Bite Handle to drop this off with me. This is the Remshi Designs Shino prototype 1 of 3. And she said, I
Nice.
want you to have this. If you want to buy it or not, that's great, but I want to give you a little more time with it. And since then, I have sent her the money and purchased this. Remember when I said I was going to spend 350 on one peon? And I walked out with
Right.
a Damascus Serif worth of knives. But
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't trade it for anything because it's all YouTube ad revenue money. So that's pretty cool. Thank you guys for watching ads. I appreciate it. Um, so yeah, with that shout out of I forgot to bring that up during the rave portion, but I felt so bad that she drove like specifically to drop it off because she was like, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't really enjoy like the atmosphere of like raves like this, but I wanted you to have this
Mm-hmm.
thing and we didn't see each other earlier, and I was like, oh, I feel so bad about that. I wanted to at least shout her out for that, and we talked for like, gosh, probably 40 minutes at the bite handle rave, so that was very nice.
Yeah.
But that was my final purchase of the show,
Nice.
and I think that does it. Do you have any? Oh, actually, because that ends my Blade Show experience. I went to bed,
Yeah.
woke up the next day, did a little bit of flipping with Will and Dasuko. We kind of sat around and like flipped some of the ballad songs, talked about different tricks and stuff, and then I was off to the airport and I was out of there. But your adventure didn't end there. I don't know how much you want to get into
No.
it, but I do want to hear a little bit about your Monday after.
Yeah. Yeah. From the bite handle rave, I had made my way back to the hotel. Went to bed.
Oh wait,
Didn't
hold
have
on.
anything to.
I'm
Oh,
so
go ahead.
sorry. Did you get a
No, you're
Waymo
good.
back?
No, I did not.
Oh
I
my
never got a
gosh.
Waymo.
Cuz we while we were walking to the taco place, we kept seeing Waymos and we kept making fun of them
Yep.
because they're just so easy to make fun of. I mean, a driverless car that looks like it's drunk going straight down a road, insane. So we leave, and Unc is still in the parking lot having called an Uber. I kid you not. I don't even think you know this. We drive down to the stop sign at the end of the Hi-Fi Buys Road. Waymo
Mm-hmm.
comes flying around the corner, overshoots the turn because it's turning into where we're going, overshoots the turn over the yellow line by like half a car width, and just shoots
Wow.
past us. If we were any further up, it would have hit us 100%. But we're like, that was crazy, stupid Waymo. And we turn and we drive a little bit. And I perk up in the back and I go, wait a minute. Was that Unc's Uber showing up? Did he get stuck in a Waymo? And then we saw
Nope.
it. We
Nope.
unironically saw it fly past us as we were driving and like almost go
Wow.
out of the lines again. And I was praying. I was like, please tell me Unc is not in the back of that Waymo. Poor guy.
If I was, you would have seen me in the back window going, "Ah!"
Ah! Oh,
Right.
God.
I wonder, because I thought you were going a different direction with the Waymo, because do you recall when as we were getting back to Hi-Fi, there was a Waymo that was like coming down the street, stopped right in front of
Oh yeah.
Hi-Fi with the turn signal on, then turned it off and kept going. And we were joking about how it was a confused way. And so, yeah, I figured you were talking about that.
I don't know how these things are
Yeah, they
legal.
are they are crazy. They're crazy.
Oh my gosh.
But no, I had a normal Uber ride back. What
Thank
was really
goodness.
interesting, after spending so much time of that day, not only with you and Dasuko, but also with Will, and Will, having the Vulp, having a love for foxes, literally 3 minutes into the drive back to the hotel, we have to slam on the brakes because, in the middle of the city, a fox is walking across the road. I'm
What?
like, okay, well,
That's
that's a
crazy.
perfect way to end the evening. So no, I had a normal Uber driver
Okay.
that drove me home. Didn't have anything immediate to wake up to in the morning. So I didn't have an alarm set. Woke up whenever I was going to wake up, and I was going to be meeting up with a handful of people to go to, the Atlanta Aquarium. And
Love
that
it.
morning, I was told that we were going to be meeting up at 2. So at 2 o'clock, I had gotten a ride over to the aquarium, and was there at 2, where I met. Let's see. I'm gonna see if I can pull up a photo so I don't forget somebody who was there. But I believe, if I'm remembering everybody correctly, I'm actually not trying to remember everybody correctly. I'm just wasting time while I pull up a photo. So we had, uh, okay, yeah. So it was Jack and Shroom. It was Odo. It was Nick. It was Micah, and it was Jeremy. I don't think that I missed anybody. We got there at 2 and went through the entire aquarium, doing all of the shows that we could do, going through all of the different, the worlds within the aquarium, because there are different sections for like the reef stuff, for rivers and streams, just everything. And ended with the giant room with the like 3-story high glass wall aquarium that houses the whale shark, which is just the most enormous. Uh, I mean, my mind couldn't even process how big that thing actually was. Um, and as we were in there, we're hearing them over the intercom, starting to let everybody know, in so many minutes the doors are going to be closing. We're shutting down, and I don't think they close until like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. So we were there for literally, like, I think it was about 7 hours.
I love that
Um,
place.
it was so, I mean, there was so much to see, and it seemed like all of the, at least from the expressions that I got from Jack and from Shroom, as we were seeing some of, the creatures that were out and about. A lot of them normally aren't out and about. Like like the octopus was, as we walked up to it, was literally stuck on the glass, just dead center in front of everything. It wasn't tucked away, hidden
Oh, you got to
anywhere.
see that?
Um,
That's
I mean, it
awesome.
not just see it, like it was actively like moving. It was almost like it was putting on a show for us. It was,
Oh,
I
I'm
mean, just,
jealous.
it seemed like everything that could be active, that's normally dormant, was out and active.
That's
It
awesome.
was just, it was a really, really, really cool experience, and we were there, like I said, up until about the time it closed. Then from there, we went to Waffle House. So I had another first time eatery experience, because I've never been to a Waffle
Everyone's
House
got to go to a
before.
Waffle House if you go to Blade Show every time.
Yeah, and it was an
It was the
experience.
most
I
mid
mean,
food you've ever eaten.
no, it was good. Man, it was good. I was afraid I didn't eat, or I didn't order enough food, because I basically ordered 2 different meals, and just put it all together. and I couldn't finish everything, but I was afraid that I hadn't ordered enough. But their waffles were amazing.
I've
All of
never
this
heard
might
anyone
be
say Waffle
uh
House is amazing. I will agree with you though. At the end of the night, after a packed day like Blade Show or something like that, because we also had a few like midnight Waffle House runs, it hits
yep.
unbelievably well. I will never
Yeah.
say it is great food because it just isn't to me, but it hits so
Gotcha.
perfectly that it in some meals just feel better than like a 5-star gourmet meal ever would.
Well, you also know from the number of months that you and I have known each other at this point that I glaze everything. So I'm not going to
That's fair.
directly poo-poo on anything, but a lot of it might have to do with the fact that by I think it's now 10 o'clock or almost 11 that we're getting to Waffle House. No, it was probably closer to 10. I had literally had nothing to eat all day
It hits
long.
so
So
well like
a
that.
lot of it might be due to that, but I mean, it was great. I absolutely loved
I
it.
could knock out a
And
whole Waffle House thing right now. I'm telling you what.
oh, for sure, for sure. I mean, we're going what? Just did we? Are we at 3 hours yet?
No, 2:40,
No,
two
we're
hours
we're not quite.
41.
Yeah.
Dude, I
So yeah.
I want nothing more right now than to be able to just get up from this with you in person and go to a Waffle House. That would just cap
Same.
this all off perfectly. I'm sorry, you can get
Right.
back to your story.
No, no, you're good. The Waffle House, the food filled me up. I loved it. It hit the spot. And the people, everybody that I went to the aquarium with, were with me at the Waffle House. Then a couple more people had dropped in. I'm not going to be able to remember everybody who was there. I know that Dopey likes chicken. Wes was there. I know that Austin was there. I'm sure that there were like a number of other people that were there, but while we were there, we also somebody had realized that, or rather, were asked if they realized that it was paid parking at Waffle House, and they immediately like ran outside because they were afraid their car was going to get towed. Which then got people scurrying on, hey, are you trying to like dine and ditch or whatever? And because of that, like just a lot was happening, and everybody was about to, go their own ways. So I was, while this was going on, starting to say my goodbyes to everybody because that was going to be the last time, for the foreseeable future that I'm, in person with Jack and Shroom and Odo and everybody. So there were a couple other people that were there that I'm not remembering because of the hustle and bustle of everything that was going on. But that's where I said my last official goodbyes of Blade Show was at Waffle House, and then from there um, made my way a uncomfortable 2 blocks away from the Waffle House to pick up my Uber, which I did not understand. And then my Uber uh, that was supposed to be there in 6 minutes ended up getting there 45 minutes later. After I'm watching them on a map, literally driving around in circles, then go the opposite direction, and then have to like go over a river or something to circle back around to get in the right. To the extent where,
Dog, where are
again,
you going?
I'm a very patient and understanding person. And I, even when I reached out to them, I was even trying to be patient and understanding with that. But I did eventually ask, where are you? Or when will you be here? Or something like that. And their response was, I'm on my way. And I'm looking at my phone thinking, I have watched you literally sit in the same spot for 15 minutes. You're not moving. What do you mean you're on your way? Well, they eventually got there. And, again, like, I'm not a conflict person. So my stance on it was, okay, I'm going to pull out my phone. I'm going to find something to look at. I'm just going to avoid like conversation because I don't want to voice the fact that I could see everywhere that you were. You weren't beelining it to me at all. And I couldn't do that because the entire ride home, the guy was explaining that the people who are directing traffic don't know how to direct traffic, and was blaming everything on that, including while we were sitting on the freeway at a dead stop because traffic was so bad. And he was like, "You see traffic?" I mean, yeah. And I look at the center console, his map, and I'm like, dude, it says that we're supposed to take this interstate, and that interstate is not the 3 lanes we're currently in. Where we're supposed to go is free and clear and has been for 15 minutes. And he's like, "Oh, okay, well, yeah, I was thinking about taking this exit anyways." And like there
What the
were so
hell?
many times that I had to tell the guy, "Hey, this is where we're supposed to be going," by looking at his
What
dashboard
the hell,
and
dude?
reading. It was the worst Uber trip I have ever had. And then I get back to the hotel
What a
and I
way to
crash
end
out,
it.
and right. And as good as everything was, the all of it culminated to like every bit of bad that could have happened at Blade Show was all condensed into this one Uber ride, and
Hey,
I'm okay with
I'll
that.
take it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I am totally okay with that. And then I went to bed. I woke up. I made my way to the airport and got my way back home. Yeah,
Well,
it was. I mean, the way, again, from a first time Blade Show goer's experience, the only way that I have been able to adequately describe what my first year at Blade Show was a literal dream come true. I could not have had you, Ethan, said, "Hey, Scott, I'm going to make everything happen exactly how you want it. Take a pen and paper, list out all of the experiences you want to have, who you want to meet, all of this stuff." I could not in a million years have come up with something better than what my first Blade Show experience was.
that's
All of the
awesome.
experiences, all of the
I'm
interactions
so happy to hear
was
that.
just absolutely amazing. Yeah.
So, I do want to
Yep.
leave. We did write down one specific thing with expectations versus reality. As a first time Blade Show attendee, tell our audience
Yeah.
at home who may have never been to Blade Show before,
Yep.
with all like how were your expectations and how were they met? I think you did kind of just answer that with everything that you just said, saying that it was a dream come true. But like, did you have
Yeah.
lofty expectations for this? Were you expecting nothing? Like,
So yeah, I mean I have a couple different ways that I can approach expectations versus my experiences. For example, I totally expected to be nervous around an exceptionally large group of people. I to a certain degree totally experienced that. Again, Friday, I was going hour by hour. So I was very nervous at first, but the more people I met, the more it felt like I was just hanging out with friends. They, albeit friends that I hadn't met yet,
right.
but people were introducing themselves to me. I was recognizing people. The more people that I had engaged with, the less stress I was feeling, the less nervous I was feeling. And by the end of it, it was just, I was excited to get to Blade Show, to be able to, especially on the last day on Sunday, to get to hang out with all of these friends that I made, because I knew that we were about to be turning around and heading back home. So, nervousness wise, I did expect it, but I did not expect for it to soften the way that it did. We kind of covered this before. I expected that I was going to have to introduce myself to just about everybody other than Ethan and other than Grim. I was fairly confident that you two were going to recognize me on site, and I wasn't going to need to say, "Oh, hey, hi, by the way." However, my experience was that a lot of people recognized me when I approached them, But again, more surprisingly, there were a number of people who came up to me looking to meet me, introducing themselves to me, and that was not expected. Um, and then this one is kind of strange. A lot of, and I was expecting it because a lot of people had told me their experience with Blade Show immediately flipped a switch, a flipper's switch, where their passion for it increased tenfold, their ability to flip increased tenfold, whatever the case may be for them. So I went into it expecting that I was going to learn a lot from experienced flippers. My experience with that, however, was that was very much not that. I spent time getting to know a lot of experienced flippers, but rather than focusing on what they could teach me, I was far more interested in getting to know them as a person, just talking to them. So while I expected to come out of it knowing a whole lot more like tricks and combos and stuff like that, I didn't really learn much about flipping while I was at Blade this year. I learned more about the caliber of people that we have in the hobby. And then lastly, I did expect, because again, social anxiety, I expected that I was going to be socially drained by the end of each day. However, throughout the show, my experience was that throughout the show, there were a number of people, who, knowing that I was socially awkward and anxious, would regularly seek me out to make sure that I was okay. And those people helped to keep my battery from being depleted. Not necessarily fully recharging my battery, but
Right.
definitely serving a social purpose in kind of keeping me from being socially exhausted by the end of the day.
Well, great. You have anything else that
Yeah.
you want to add about the show? Because I think we're at the end. 3 hours
Yeah.
later.
Right. Let me think. I want to say that we've probably covered just about everything that I had noted down, but I just want to scan a few things real quick to make sure I'm not missing anything.
In the meantime, guys,
Yeah.
huge thank you to Unc for doing this. I reached out to you honestly, like maybe just a day or two before Blade Show, indicating that I kind of wanted to do this with you, and you've been super receptive and interested in it. And now I have taken up double, if not triple, the amount of time that I initially told you, plus setup like quadruple the amount of time that I told you this
Yeah.
was going to take. So thank you for giving me time.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm going to give you the chance to kind of do your shout outs and everything, but I just want to make it clear now. The link to all of Unc's stuff will be in the description if you want to go check him out. He's doing awesome stuff over on his end of the internet and his end of the Balisong
Thank you.
community. Getting to meet you at Blade Show was just an absolute pleasure, and I am already planning and waiting for and super excited for the next time we are able to hang out in person.
Absolutely. Absolutely agree. Yeah, and I can't thank you enough for the opportunity, and for you like actively seeking me out. At Blade Show in the pit. Giving us the opportunity to sit down, talk. Have plenty of time to interact. Was absolutely great. The one other thing that I did want to bring up, because I did find it in my notes, was the fact I have been very, very public about kind of who got me into the hobby. I mean, I have my Instagram. I mean, I brought it up in a live stream. Then I clipped from that and put out on Instagram. My short that says, if it weren't for Will, if it weren't for Brandon, if it weren't for Ethan, and if it weren't for Artsy, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. I wouldn't be, flipping a balisong still. I wouldn't have thought to create a YouTube channel to do it. And one of my big takeaways from Blade Show was the fact that I was able to meet 3 of those 4 people that got me into the hobby. Sadly, Artsy wasn't at Blade Show Atlanta 2026 this year, but I got to meet Brandon. on the first day, who then recognized me, said, nothing but nice things to me, like completely had me on I was emotionally broken for probably 2 hours after meeting Brandon because of all of the nice things that he had to say about me and what I do, and his appreciation. Spending as much time as I got to with you, as well as Will. And I've said before in my streams, anybody who hasn't ever seen Will at a Blade show, interacting with like everybody who wants to interact with him, interacting with kids that don't know boundaries. Will is unequivocally like 1,000 times more patient and understanding than anybody could possibly imagine. But that's the last thing that I had wanted to say, was just how moving it was for me to be able to have the opportunity to meet, three of the four people that, gave me what I needed personally, to do what it is that I do. So
That's so awesome to hear. I'm happy to have contributed at least a little bit to that. And
absolutely.
you were truly, truly, I totally mean it. I meant it when I said you were my favorite person that I met this year. I will say it
Well, I appreciate that.
easily. My favorite new person that I met this year. I cannot wait.
That means a lot to me.
I cannot wait, and I hope to make some more time next year to hang out specifically. Or who knows, maybe crazy things will happen and we'll see each other earlier than that. That would be cool. Um,
Fingers crossed. That would be awesome.
but yeah, I think if that's
But
it.
worst case scenario, Blade Show next year.
Yep.
I mean, one of the things that people talk about, and it might be worth bringing up. I don't know. You can edit this out if it isn't. But one of the things that I know that a lot of people had talked to me about, knowing that that I'm very passionate, and knowing that this was my first Blade Show, was the Blade Show blues or the Blade Show depression, or however you want to phrase it,
Yep.
afterwards when you get back home and you're no longer around your people. So a lot of people had reached out to me during the last couple of days of Blade Show, as well as since Blade Show, just reaching out, asking how I was doing, and if there was anything that I needed. And for me, I had no concerns over the Blade Show blues really hitting me. And since then, I haven't had any issues with the Blade Show blues, because my takeaway from Blade Show, like what I was able to come out of it with, was validation that ever since I came in the community, I have gotten nothing but love and support and compassion and caring from everybody who I have interacted with. Anybody, whether I've reached out to them or they've reached out to me, I've gotten nothing but love. And being able to spend time with everybody at Blade Show, I got that validation that wasn't misunderstood. Like, that is the Balisong community. Like, all of these people just care and love each other and help lift each other up. And different people show their love for each other in different ways. Sometimes you have the playful banter and mean comments that are said in jest, but everybody knows that I don't interact like that, and nobody interacted like that with me.
That's
All I
really
got
great.
was just the best, the best of everybody, and it was absolutely amazing. So any of you guys that were at Blade Show that had any interactions with me, I thank you from the bottom of my heart, because you guys made the experience for me.
Yes, for me as well. Thank you guys. And thank you, Scott, for being such a genuinely cool, awesome guy, both to hang out with in person and to talk to over the past few months while we've gotten to know each other. I think the hobby has
Thank you very
been
much.
better off with you in it, unequivocally.
Well, thank you. That means a lot to me. Both the sentiment and the fact that you just said unequivocally. Both of those mean a lot to me, because that, as you know, is my favorite word.
Unequivocally. Well, I think I've just watched my clock go over the 3-hour mark just there.
All right.
I think we're going to have to call it there. It is, oh my God, 76 in my room. I'm wearing a sweatshirt because I wanted to wear the outfit that I wore at Blade Show. and I've been regretting that for the last 2 hours. So I am going to
Yeah, I'm
go.
at 84.4. So yeah.
Oh my.
And
Oh,
I had to turn my air conditioner
you
off.
know, I apologize for complaining. It seems that you have won in this particular matter. I will think about the consequences of my actions as I peel this sweatshirt off of my body, and I can't even imagine what you're going through over there. I totally forgot you had to turn off
um
your AC. I'm so sorry.
No, no, I'm fine. I would go another hour if we had another hour's worth of content to talk through. This has been absolutely amazing. And again, another, I mean, the only way I can describe it is another dream come true type experience. You helped bring me into the community and into the YouTube space, and the fact that you want to, spend this much time with me on a video talking about spending, a lot of time with me. It's just, no, I thank you for everything. You have nothing to apologize
I
for.
appreciate it 100. I unequivocally appreciate it.
Excellent.
All right. Well, Scott, please give a shout out. Where can the people find you?
All right. Well, you can find me on YouTube. I am Bali Unc. You can find me on Instagram as Bali Unc. And if you're on Discord, I do have a Bali Unc and Friends server. You do have to apply for it and answer a couple questions, but really low key. I'm just making sure that it's not, no spam is coming in, and that everybody understands the rules and everything before they engage. Because again, my big thing is making sure that the community, regardless of who you are, regardless of where you're coming from, you have a safe space that you can interact with other flippers. And that's very much what my Discord is. So before letting just any buddy join the Discord, you do have to answer a couple questions, and I do review all of those and admit everybody. But those are I think my socials and how you can connect with me.
And the links to all of those will be in the description as usual. Please go check out Unc on specifically, I think, his YouTube channel. If you enjoy the streams that I do, you'll definitely enjoy the streams that he does. And he does them far more frequently than I do. So huge
Yeah,
thank
that's
you.
that's actually worth yeah, that's actually worth noting, just so that everyone is aware. I do have a pretty structured schedule from the streaming perspective. I stream every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I stream every Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
And unironically affects my streaming schedule because there have been days where I've been like, I want to go live tonight. And then I look at my phone and I go, oh, it's Wednesday. Can't interfere with Unc.
I appreciate that.
But yeah, I think that's going to do it. If you stuck around this far, thank you. This is by far the longest episode on this, or episode. This is the longest video on this channel, I think, by far. Unequivocally, one might say. Um, Thank you to Scott for doing this. I really do appreciate it. And thank you guys for watching. We will see you. Well, maybe not we, but wait, I fucked this up completely. We will see you later. See ya.
Love you.